When I was 3 months pregnant, my husband's mistress, disguised as a food delivery person, came to our home to cause a scene. During the altercation, we both fell from the building. My husband is the head of the emergency department, but I didn't rely on him. Instead, I pleaded with other doctors for help, all because in a past life, I had begged my husband to take me to the hospital for emergency care. In the end, my child and I were safe. However, his lover, Meng Chen, was later killed by a flower pot that fell from a great height. My husband said I was shaken up, and that Meng Chen got what she deserved. He dragged me out of the operating room and threw me off the hospital rooftop. My child and I died with bitter resentment in our hearts. He cried out through his tears, Chen, I've avenged you. You were kind enough to bring Milu a nutritious meal, and in return, she pushed you down the stairs. That woman is a monster. And any child of hers is sure to be born evil. I'm doing this for the people. I'll spare neither the wicked wife nor the useless son. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the scene of the fall. I lay weakly on the lawn below, covered in blood. The agonizing contractions were a stark reminder that my unborn baby's life was hanging by a thread. About 10 meters away from me, Meng Chen, though disheveled and bloodstained, was clearly in much better shape than I was. As we fell together, all my focus was on protecting my child. She kept her hands tightly clasped over her stomach the entire time. But that bitch Meng Chen, during the fall, desperately forced me beneath her, so when we hit the ground, she was on top and I was underneath. I became her human cushion. Haha, Sister Milu, you're going to miscarry, aren't you? Her gaze was venomous and deranged. Once you get rid of that bastard in your belly, Director Su will kick you, this old hag, to the curb. Let me usurp your place and take over as the new mistress, your man, your wealth. It will all be mine. Ha ha ha. Who told you to sponsor a poor student like me in the first place? I am the ungrateful wolf that bites the hand that feeds it. You brought this wolf into your own house, regretting it now. Too bad, because there's no such thing as a pill for regret. The first time I came to your house and saw your handsome husband and that 300 square meter luxury apartment, I made up my mind right then to steal him from you. There's no shame in being the other woman. The real shame is not being able to afford a Hermes. Just then, Su Anqing, the head of the hospital's emergency department, arrived at the scene of the fall with his assistant in tow. Seeing her husband, Meng Chen immediately feigned extreme weakness and agony, collapsing to the ground and writhing in dramatic, pained cries. It hurts. I'm in so much pain. I'm dying. Director Su, save me. It's even more painful than the night I lost my virginity. Sob, she shamelessly wailed and made a scene, not caring in the slightest that she was spilling the sordid details of their affair right in front of the assistant. Looking at the blood on Meng Chen, Su Anqing seemed to recall a certain night of intimacy, a lewd, reminiscing expression spreading across his face, but then he spotted me in the grass, my belly swollen, and he looked torn, unsure of whom to attend to first. The ambulance he brought only had one stretcher. It could only take one person back at a time. In my past life, I clutched my stomach in agony, weeping and wailing. Su Anqing, you don't have to love me. You can cheat, you can keep a mistress, but the child is innocent. That child is your own flesh and blood. Even a vicious tiger doesn't harm its own cubs. What more is there for you to hesitate about? Save our baby, please. We live on the 4th floor, and there's grass below, so. When Meng Chen and I fell, we were both injured to varying degrees. But it wasn't fatal. But the baby in my womb is only 3 months old, the most fragile stage. He's in the greatest danger. In my previous life, after my desperate pleas, Su Anqing gritted his teeth and carried me onto the ambulance first, rushing me back to the hospital for emergency treatment. The baby in my womb was saved. Meng Chen was originally fine, but I wonder if it's divine retribution for being a homewrecker. Is she going to face karma? She wasn't seriously hurt and could have gone to the hospital herself, yet she just lay there on the ground, refusing to move. Then a strong wind blew up, and a flower pot from my balcony fell, hitting and killing her. It was truly a case of poetic justice. Her wickedness had finally caught up with her, and she got exactly what she deserved. Everyone who heard about Meng Chuan's death couldn't help but applaud. My in-laws had a talk with Su Anqing, urging him to see the error of his ways and return to his family. Su Anqing agreed on the surface, promising to turn over a new leaf and sincerely reform. Yet, mere minutes after our child was born, he callously threw the baby to its death, right in front of me. He then dragged my weakened body from the operating table, hauled me to the rooftop, and shoved me over the edge. My son and I died with bitter resentment in our hearts. He cried out through his tears, Chen, I've avenged you. You were just trying to be kind, bringing Milu that nutritious meal, and she pushed you down the stairs. That woman is a monster. Any child of hers is bound to be a born psychopath with that super male syndrome. I'm doing this for the good of the people. I'll spare neither the wicked wife nor the worthless son. Rest in peace, my dear. Now that I've been reborn, I won't let the tragedy repeat itself, too, so I bit my lip hard, refusing to utter a single word of plea. Su Anqing's assistant recognized who I was. Director Su, it's your wife who fell, and she's pregnant. Let's save her first. Hearing his assistant say that, Su Anqing seemed to make up his mind and strode toward me. Stop right there. Don't touch me. I spat out a mouthful of bloody saliva, exhausted yet resolute. Su Anqing, you disgust me. The lives of me and our child are none of your concern. I don't want your help. Go be with your little mistress. I turned my gaze to the kind-hearted assistant. Xiaoli, could you please call another 120 ambulance for me? I'm begging you. Although Su Anqing and I had argued several times before over Meng Chen, but to save his face, I had never openly confronted him in front of others. This time, when I accused him of being morally bankrupt right in front of his assistant, he flew into a rage out of sheer humiliation. Milo, if it weren't for the children, do you think I'd bother with you? We've been living a lie for ages, sharing a bed but not our dreams. Don't be so crude. What homewrecker? Love doesn't follow a cue, and it certainly shouldn't be chained by a worthless piece of paper. The real other woman in a marriage is the one who isn't loved. Chen is my confidant. You're the one who doesn't belong in this family. He hurt and humiliated me without a shred of mercy. Meng Chen was right there, fanning the flames. Director Su, Milu has no feelings for you, and she's downright cruel and vicious to the child as well. I knew Mila was pregnant, so I went out of my way to bring her nutritious meals to help with the pregnancy, but not only was she ungrateful, she grabbed me and tried to jump off the building with her. She wasn't just trying to kill me, she wanted to end your bloodline too. That woman is terrifying. She has a heart of a serpent, utterly unfit to be a mother. Upon hearing her words, Su Anqing roared, his eyes wide with fury. Milo, if anything happens to the child, I'll fight you to the death. He then instructed his assistant, get Chen to the hospital. Now, the assistant panicked. Director Su, just look at the scene. Your wife is clearly more severely injured. There's blood all over the ground beneath her, and she's pregnant. By all rights, we should be helping her first. Shut up. I don't need you to tell me how to do my job. One more word and you're fired. Forget about your probation period. Su Anqing's face contorted as he roared. The baby is 3 months along now. It's not that fragile. She won't miscarry that easily. She likes to push her luck, doesn't she? Let her stew for 10 minutes. She needs to think about what she's done. A woman who doesn't even understand the basic virtues of obedience and fidelity, always jealous and causing drama. If we don't teach her a harsh lesson now, she'll just keep stirring up trouble. With that, Su Anqing directed the others to put Meng Chen into the ambulance first. He was in such a rush that he didn't even wait for the driver and assistant to get in, just hit the gas and drove off himself. Don't be scared. Sister-in-law, I'll call 120 again right away. The assistant comforted me. Even though I felt like a knife was twisting in my gut, I still hadn't given up hope, clutching their abdomen with a hand. Hang in there, sweetheart, just a little longer. Help is almost here. Due to traffic, the second ambulance didn't arrive until over 10 minutes later. In a semi-conscious state, I was loaded into the ambulance. My assistant kept encouraging me on the way. Don't worry, sis, it's okay. I checked, and the baby is still there for now. If we can get to the ER within half an hour, we can save the baby. I'm so sorry to trouble you. I managed to whisper my thanks. My own husband is the most renowned ER doctor in the entire city, and yet here we are, relying on an intern to save our child. What a bitter irony. It's a 15-minute drive from my house to the hospital. The driver sped the whole way, ran a few red lights, and we were already outside the emergency room in just 10 minutes. By all rights, my child should be saved. After my rebirth, I was right not to let Su Anqing get involved, but then, another unexpected incident occurred, because an ambulance was actually blocking the emergency room entrance. It left a gap of less than 10 centimeters. It's the same car Su Anqing was driving before. He drove the car right up the steps, parked it, and immediately carried Meng Chen into the emergency operating room. Not only did he not move the car, but he also took the keys with him. Now the car is immobilized, blocking the entrance to the emergency room like a roadblock. Not only could the stretcher not get in, but the doctors and equipment inside couldn't get out either. There was simply no way to use the equipment to save the baby in my womb. People both inside and outside were frantic. Someone was desperately banging on the operating room door, hoping Su Anqing would hand over his car keys so the vehicle blocking the entrance could be moved. I'm in the middle of bandaging and putting a cast on Chen Chen. She has a fracture, she's in agony right now, and it's tearing me apart. Nobody disturb me, he yelled frantically, forbidding anyone from interfering, and even locked the operating room door from the inside. The people outside had no choice but to call over a dozen security guards, who tried to physically move the ambulance by hand to clear a lifeline for me, but I couldn't hold on any longer. I was losing a torrent of blood and sank into an endless darkness. Only one thought remained in my mind. I'm so sorry, my love. I'm not capable enough, my child. Even if I were given a second chance, I couldn't protect you. 3. Su Anqing and I were university classmates. Ours was a romance that blossomed from school uniforms to a wedding gown. After graduation, he became a highly respected surgeon. I am a high school teacher with students all over the world. We are the envy of everyone as a couple. I come from a well-off family, often engage in charity, and have sponsored many students in need. Most of these students from impoverished backgrounds are truly grateful and repay the kindness they receive. However, there is Meng Chen Chen, an ungrateful wretch who bites the hand that feeds her, coveting Su Anqing's status and wealth. She seized the opportunity when I was away for a week-long teacher training program earlier this year. She actually sneaked into Su Anqing's bed. I became the other woman, a role I'm ashamed of. I discovered their affair 3 months ago. It happened when I stumbled upon the flirtatious texts Meng Chen Chen had been sending Su Anqing. Furious, I was ready to divorce Su Anqing, only to find out I was pregnant. I hesitated because I didn't want my child to be born without a father. Su Anqing also promised me he would cut all ties with that homewrecker. He said he would be a good father, a good dad, yet, after 2 lifetimes, our child was still killed by that monster of a father. I woke up in the hospital bed. It was already noon the next day. My belly was flat, the baby was gone. A flood of tears came, and I sobbed until I was gasping for air. The door opened, and Su Anqing walked in, dressed in a pristine white coat. What are you crying for? It's just a minor injury. The child is fine, isn't she? Do you think playing the victim will get you out of taking responsibility? Strictly speaking, jumping off the building while holding Chen Chen constitutes premeditated murder. You're going to jail for this, only because you're pregnant. Chen Chen is being generous and letting this go. After you're discharged, you must serve her tea and apologize properly. I'm warning you, if you ever pull such a reckless stunt again and actually harm the baby, you'll have hell to pay. From last night until now, Su Anqing's mind has been completely occupied by that homewrecker. He hasn't had a single thought to spare for my well-being. And he doesn't even know I've already miscarried. Director Su, about your sister-in-law's child. Just as the assistant was about to speak, the door swung open again. The hospital director entered, leading a group of reporters. The director let out a hearty laugh. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is our hospital's outstanding representative, the skilled and compassionate Dr. Su Anqing. Yesterday, Dr. Su saved a female university student who had accidentally fallen from a height. The student is now out of danger. The most crucial point is that Dr. Su's own wife fell alongside that student. Any normal person would save their own wife first, right? Especially considering Mrs. Su was pregnant. It could have been a tragedy for 2 lives. Yet Dr. Su selflessly put others first, saving Meng Chen Chen before his own wife. That spirit of sacrifice is truly remarkable. What a model of selfless dedication and professional commitment. You must widely publicize Dr. Su's moving story. Of course, his noble mindset is also a credit to our hospital's training. We have always prioritized the cultivation of medical ethics. The journalists began taking photos one after another. The assistant felt indignant but dared not speak up. Su Anqing was visibly emotional in front of the reporters' cameras. Not only did he loudly proclaim that his decision to rescue Meng Chen Chen first yesterday was an act of selfless heroism, he even had the gall to claim that Meng Chen Chen was a financially disadvantaged student he had been sponsoring, shamelessly trying to polish his own image. Yet he completely avoided mentioning the scandal of him coming out of the closet while still married. At that moment, a reporter pointed a microphone in my direction. Mrs. Su, would you like to share your thoughts? What is your view on Dr. Su's actions? Do you support him, or do you have complaints? The hospital director quickly gave me a prompt. I'm sure Mrs. Su will be supportive. She's fully aware of the situation. Milu, Dr. Su is a rare talent in our hospital. I'm even considering promoting him to Deputy Director of Clinical Operations. Upon hearing this, a look of ecstasy flashed in Su Anqing's eyes. He turned his gaze toward me. Honey, why don't you tell the reporters all about my heroic deeds? It was dangerous yesterday, but you're fine, aren't you? The baby's fine too. All's well that ends well. Haha, I know you have a strong sense of what's right. You told me to save Chen Chun first yesterday, didn't you? It seems my influence has elevated your moral compass. A dozen camera lenses and microphones from the reporters were pointed at me. Chapter 2, Revenge. Chapter 2, Revenge. 4. I spoke, my voice calm and detached. Support. Ha. Of course I support him, Dr. Sue is a truly exceptional doctor. My mindset is too narrow. I'm simply not good enough for him. Su Anqing's smile grew even more content. That's exactly why I'm divorcing him. Let them have their sordid affair. You still don't know, do you, that college student, Meng Chen Chun, is Su Anqing's kept mistress, selfless and altruistic. What a load of crap. It's a clear case of shamelessness and moral bankruptcy. The dean was dumbfounded, the journalists were stunned, Suan was hopping mad with rage. He lunged forward, yanked my hair, and dragged me straight from the bed to the floor. Miro, are you trying to ruin my chance at becoming vice dean? You have a heart of pure darkness. I crashed heavily onto the floor. That's when he finally saw my flat stomach. His face went pale with shock. Where is my child? Ha ha ha, where's your child now? Overwhelmed by grief and fury, I burst into a fit of hysterical laughter. Even as I laughed, tears streamed down my face like rain. I was laughing and crying all at once, like a madman possessed. I picked myself up from the ground. I was on an 4 drip when Su Anqing roughly dragged me from the bed onto the floor. The transfusion needle was ripped right out of my arm, leaving it smeared with blood, but I felt no pain at all. I didn't even care about modesty anymore. I just yanked open my hospital gown, revealing my bandaged abdomen. The surgery had just been bandaged, and the gauze was still stained with fresh, crimson blood. The child is dead, did you hear me? He died because you refused to help. I died because of your cold heart, your betrayal, your coming out. I died while you were going all out to save your little mistress. Do you understand? Or do I need to repeat myself? Dr. Sue, model citizen Sue, our great hero, Sue, the legendary lover, Sue. You killed your own flesh and blood with your own hands. Are you satisfied now? My voice was as mournful as a cuckoo's cry, brimming with boundless agony, hatred, and sorrow. Su Anqing's face was as pale as paper, his entire body drenched in sweat. No, it's impossible. How could anything be wrong with the child? I saw another ambulance pass by on the road as I was driving away. Shaoli, but you were supposed to stay at the scene. Why didn't you protect my child? How could you let her have a miscarriage? What have I been teaching you all this time? This is sheer negligence of human life. Suan demanded of his assistant, furious and beside himself. The assistant was a good person. Previously, under pressure from the hospital director, he hadn't dared to say much, but I couldn't hold back any longer. Director Sue, how can you say that with a clear conscience? Let's not even mention how at the scene of the fall, it was clearly your wife who was in more critical condition, yet you ignored her and only focused on rescuing Meng Chen Chun. Later, when we took the second ambulance and brought your wife to the emergency room entrance, we were blocked by a car. The stretcher couldn't even get through. It took over a dozen security guards working together to finally move the car, but by then, the critical window for emergency care had passed. We could only watch helplessly as the unborn child was lost. Recalling the brutal scene from yesterday, the assistant broke down in tears. What kind of driver has so little regard for others, to actually park their car blocking the emergency access lane? That's nothing short of murder. I'm going to call the police on that heartless driver. Su Anqing was furious and righteous, but as he spoke, he suddenly fell silent, because he suddenly realized who the inconsiderate driver blocking the door was. It was him all along. I was in such a panic yesterday, because Chen Chen had a bone fracture. I needed to get her cast put on, so I just parked the car right at the entrance. The keys, I forgot to leave the keys in the car. 5. At this point, the hospital director's face had turned as sour as if he'd just eaten something foul. He had called the reporters over to polish his own image, to promote the hospital, and now it had come to this. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, esteemed colleagues, please join me in the lounge for some tea. I'll double the travel allowance. I'll pay double. You absolutely must not publish this story. I'm begging you. Travel allowance is a euphemism for a cash bribe. The reporters have all left. The assistant has left too. In the hospital room, only I remained with Su Anqing, whose face was ashen. Darling, I'm so sorry. His voice trembled as murky tears welled up in his eyes. He even tried to come over and support me. You just had a miscarriage. You need to get back in bed and rest properly. Get away from me. Don't touch me, Su Anqing. I want a divorce, I said with fierce determination in my voice and expression. Su Anqing grew even more panicked. Darling, just let me explain. Before he could finish, Meng Chen, also in a hospital gown and virtually unscathed save for a fractured arm, burst into the room. "Director Sue, what on earth are you apologizing for? I know you're devastated about losing the baby, but who is really to blame for this? It's that vile woman, Milu. She jumped on purpose. She wasn't just trying to kill me, she wanted to kill your child too. That woman is a viper. She's a murderer. She's out to wipe out the Sue family line for good. I told you about her vicious scheme before. Have you forgotten?" Hearing the mistress's brazen lies, the guilt vanished from Su Anqing's eyes. It was replaced by pure malice and hatred. "Exactly, you're absolutely right, Chen. Milu, do you really hate me that much? If there's no love left, we can get a divorce, but the child is innocent. How could you do this to my own flesh and blood, you monster? You've desecrated the very word mother. I hate you. I will never forgive you for this. I want a divorce, right now. Whoever doesn't get a divorce is a dog." 6. Suan stormed out in a furious rage, slamming the door behind him. Meng Chen didn't leave immediately. Instead, she stared at me with an air of arrogant superiority. "You can't beat me, you old hag. I've got this in the bag. You're thinking of going to the police to report me for murder, aren't you? So, you're saying I pushed you off the building? That's right. I did push you off the balcony. I just never expected you to be so crazy, dragging me down with you in the panic. But I'm blessed with incredible luck. Surviving a disaster like that means great fortune is coming my way, and I still managed to kill that bastard in your belly, ruined your life, and got you thrown out by Director Sue. Mission accomplished. Incredible. Even if I got a bit of a fright and took some knocks, it was worth it. This is what they call nothing ventured. Nothing gained, or you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. But it was your eggs that got broken to catch my prize. 2 birds with 1 stone. Let me make this perfectly clear. I destroyed the camera on your home security system days ago, when you and Director Sue were sneaking around behind my back. So there's no evidence from yesterday. The police can't touch me. You're just out of luck. Meng Chen doubled over with laughter. Meng Chen. What did I ever do to you? How could you repay my kindness with such betrayal? I just don't get it. Meng Chuan's family was very poor, struggling even to afford her tuition. I started supporting her financially in high school, all the way until she got into university. I never expected anything in return. They even helped her find part-time work opportunities for students. Even her own parents couldn't have done more, could they? Yet in the end, she caused me so much harm. It's utterly inhumane. The fact that you have more money than me is a crime against me, an insult to me. I'm just green with envy, Meng Chen said through gritted teeth. You rich people are all hypocrites, full of empty gestures and hungry for fame. Your charity is all a sham, nothing but a performance. You think a few measly favors are enough to earn my gratitude. What a joke. If you were truly generous, you'd give me your husband and all your wealth. Not giving it is just selfish. So I have no choice but to take it myself. I don't need your charity. I'll make my own way to the top. Staring at Meng Chuan's repulsive face, I was certain that the person before me was no longer human, but a beast enslaved by its own desires. 7. Although the dean had given the journalist a generous bribe in hopes of covering up the scandal, but not all journalists were swayed by money. Some reporters still managed to post the story of the fall online. Famous hospital ER chief saves mistress over wife, leading to death of unborn child instantly became a viral news story. In an instant, Su Anqing became a modern-day Chin Shimmy. They were subjected to a torrent of online criticism and condemnation. You monster, you scum, you're worse than an animal, suspend him, shoot him for half an hour. A cacophony of righteous demands filled the air. The dean had no choice but to suspend Su Anqing for the time being. At the same time, Meng Chen was doxxed. Her university classmates found out she was the impoverished student I sponsored, and yet she meddled in my relationship. Who wouldn't despise such an ungrateful wretch? So, they aired her dirty laundry on the campus forum. The school has suspended Meng Chen. They said if she ever does anything else that violates public order and morality, or tarnishes the school's reputation, she'll be expelled. Now, the two of them have become public enemies. They'd get tomatoes and rotten eggs thrown at them if they dared to show their faces in public. Su Anqing and I have filed for divorce. There's a mandatory 30-day cooling-off period, so we can't make a clean break just yet. I also went to the police station to accuse Meng Chen of intentional murder, demanding she pay for the life of the innocent child she took. The police agreed to open an investigation, but just as Meng Chen said, The surveillance system in my home was sabotaged by her in secret. That day, we fell from the building locked in each other's arms. There were only the two of us at the scene, with no eyewitnesses. It was a classic case of he said, she said, making it impossible to determine in that moment who actually pushed whom. After all, between the two of us, one is the lawful wife and the other is the mistress. The wife wants to get rid of the mistress wants to take her place. We both have a motive for murder. With the police unable to reach a conclusion, Meng Chen grew increasingly emboldened. 8. Su Anqing was suspended from his job, and Meng Chen was suspended from her classes. Neither of them was willing to sit back and do nothing, nor did they want to face social death. They then launched a public opinion counterattack against me. Su Anqing insisted that I was the one who pushed Meng Chen down the stairs. They portrayed me as a woman driven mad by jealousy. They claimed the child's death was my responsibility. I take full responsibility. His relationship with Meng Chen is purely platonic. There was nothing ambiguous about it. The accusations of their affair were all in my head. They said I have a persecution complex. As for why you saved Meng Chen first, instead of me and our child, I was atoning for Milu's sins. Milu committed intentional homicide. I was afraid that if Meng Chen died, Milu would have to pay with her life. That's why I saved Meng Chen first. My intentions were good, even if my actions were hard to understand. Meng Chen also went online, sobbing and sniffling as she started a live stream. She claimed that although she was a financially disadvantaged student I had sponsored, I had also subjected her to years of psychological manipulation and emotional abuse. I insulted her, bullied her, and used the debt of gratitude to coerce her. I made her work like a slave in my home, treating her as a servant. They claim I framed her for having an affair with Su Anqing out of jealousy over her youth and beauty. In short, she is portrayed as pure and innocent, initially. Netizens didn't buy the lies from that despicable pair, but Su Anqing hired online trolls to drum up support for them. Paid trolls were unleashed online to smear my reputation and control the narrative. The hospital director, not wanting a scandal to tarnish the institution's reputation, also stepped forward to publicly support Su Anqing. They praised Su Anqing as a dedicated and upright professional, claiming he was absolutely incapable of such a despicable act as abandoning his family. Under the influence of this orchestrated public opinion, netizens gradually became divided. There are a lot more voices questioning me now. Even if your husband leaves you, you don't have to kill yourself, do you? When will women learn self-respect and independence? We are not men's appendages. Exactly. Just because a man leaves you, you want to end your life. That's so rash and irresponsible. It only brings pain to your loved ones and joy to your enemies. I feel for her situation with her husband coming out, but why take such a reckless risk? Did she give no thought at all to the baby she's carrying? Impulse is a dangerous master. What an irresponsible mother. Pity often conceals a reason for blame. Oh, that poor child, stuck with an irresponsible father and a mother who's completely out of touch with reality. Can we sue this woman for attempted murder? I think this woman might genuinely have a persecution complex. A real mental illness. I've met Dr. Su before. He's such a refined man. I just don't believe he'd ever cheat. Exactly. Director Su is a good man. It's his wife who's completely unreasonable. Isn't that Meng Chen a student from a poor family? Children from impoverished backgrounds are always such good kids. Their moral character is beyond reproach. I've never met Meng Chen myself, but I can just tell she must be a simple, kind-hearted girl. There's no way she'd knowingly be the other woman. Public opinion gradually began to shift in favor of Su Anqing and Meng Chen. This was especially true after Meng Chen, in an attempt to prove her innocence, even threatened to jump off the school building. Of course, it was all for show, just a hollow threat and a dramatic performance, but it also thoroughly spooked the school. They didn't dare take any further action against Meng Chen and allowed her to return to class. Meng Chen was clever. She knew exactly how to leverage public opinion. She started broadcasting live online continuously, moving beyond just her personal grievances. Instead, they twisted the issue into a narrative of class warfare between the rich and the poor. Just because I'm poor, does that mean you can slander me by saying I'd sell my body and soul for money? I may be poor, but I have my dignity and integrity. Not every poor girl is destined to sell herself. She skillfully tapped into widespread resentment towards the wealthy, which only served to grow her base of support. Some even began to idolize her as a rags to riches inspiration. Lotus rising untainted from the mud, how ironic. Meanwhile, the hospital reinstated Su Anqing. The dean even went so far as to present Su Anqing with an award at the year-end ceremony. It was a plaque honoring him as an angel in white. And me, I was subjected to even more scolding and criticism. How dare you call that girl a mistress just because she's poor? That woman is so full of herself, arrogant, she looks down on the poor, her charity work is all for show, just to win people over and boost her own reputation, murderer of her own flesh and blood, disgusting. If you have any conscience at all, you should kill yourself to atone for your sins. 9. Because we haven't officially filed for divorce yet. The assets haven't been divided, so, for the time being, Su Anqing and I are still living under the same roof, albeit in separate rooms. Of course, Meng Chen couldn't wait to move in, shamelessly cohabiting and carrying on with Su Anqing. She acted as if she were the lady of the house, provoking and insulting me in every way possible. At night, she would deliberately scream and shout, "Director Su, I want to have your baby, love me harder." It's utterly disgusting. The police came to investigate several times during that period. And Meng Chen insisted it was me who pushed her. Su Anqing was also seething with indignation. "Officer, you must make sure Milu goes to jail. Avenge my poor child who died so young." Before they knew it, the year-end had arrived, and the hospital was holding its annual gala. At the gala, the hospital director was to personally present the award to Su Anqing. I heard that the dean is so eager because he's angling for another promotion. He's desperate for achievements to show. Su Anqing is the very success story he cultivated. While Su Anqing gets fame and fortune, the dean stands to gain even more. Everyone's in it for themselves. Nobody does anything without a reason. As his date, Meng Chen also attended the annual gala in full formal attire. I couldn't stand the thought of that despicable pair getting off scot-free, so I sneaked into the venue with a bag of animal blood, just as the dean was about to present the Angel in White award. Before he could place it around the beaming Su Anqing's neck, splash, I rushed onto the stage and threw a basin of pig's blood right in Su Anqing's face. "Angel in White, you don't deserve that title, you heartless monster." Chaos erupted on the scene. Su Anqing was both shocked and furious. "You're insane, Milu, you're a complete lunatic." Just as the dean was signaling the hospital security to throw me out, leaving me utterly helpless and on the verge of tears, suddenly, hundreds of people came rushing in from outside. The first dozen or so students were all underprivileged kids I had sponsored, and the hundreds who followed were all students I had taught over the years. "Everyone's here. Protect Teacher Me. Teacher Me, we've got your back." They formed a protective circle around me. A girl who hailed from the same hometown as Meng Chen angrily accused her. "Meng Chen, Teacher Me has been so good to us. He helped us without expecting anything in return and never looked down on us or manipulated us. How dare you twist the truth and spout such nonsense? Have you no conscience at all? We may be poor, but we have our pride and, more importantly, a heart full of gratitude." Moved by their support, I couldn't hold back my tears, so I wasn't alone after all. I was right to do charity work. There are still so many grateful people out there. The scene grew even more chaotic. Seeing the situation was getting out of control, Su Anqing and Meng Chen both wanted to slip away, but then the police arrived. "Meng Chen, you are suspected of intentional homicide. You need to come with us to the station for questioning." Meng Chen desperately denied the accusation. "It wasn't me. I'm innocent." Su Anqing also stepped forward, brazenly adding his voice. "Officer, you've got the wrong person. The real killer is Milu." The police ignored Su Anqing and continued questioning Meng Chen. "On the day of the fall, you were delivering food to Milu's place, right?" "Why yes, that's right. I made a prenatal nutrition meal for Sister Milu." "So, where is this nutritional meal?" Meng Chen gave a shudder. I threw it away. Milu wouldn't eat it." Su Anqing let out a cold snort. "Mimi is just like the dog that bit Lu Dongbin. She doesn't recognize a good heart when she sees one." "You threw it away?" The police officer took out a sample of spoiled food from the evidence bag. "We reviewed the hallway surveillance footage and found that you threw this food into the hallway trash can. We went to great lengths and finally found this food in the landfill. It tested positive for potassium cyanide, a highly toxic substance. So that day, your visit wasn't to deliver a nutritious meal, but to poison us, was it?" 10. It suddenly dawned on me. No wonder she initially came disguised as a delivery person, just leaving a takeout order at the door before leaving. Dressed in delivery gear and wearing a mask, she was acting furtively, but ever since I got pregnant, I've been very particular about food safety and never order takeout. Sensing something was off, I called out to the delivery person, which is how I recognized Meng Chen. It turned out her original plan was to poison and kill me and my child. Only because I was careful did she fail to succeed. That's why, In a desperate, cornered move, she rushed into the room, grappled with me, and ultimately fell from the building. As the officer spoke, Meng Chen was so terrified she collapsed to the floor. Her face was a picture of guilt. Su Anqing's face turned deathly pale. He stared at Meng Chen and asked in disbelief, "You did all this, didn't you say you loved me? Then why would you hurt my child?" Meng Chen threw all caution to the wind. She burst into a fit of hysterical laughter. "Love you? Bullshit. The only person I love is myself. You're only useful to me because of your money. Who told you to keep refusing a divorce because of that bastard child Mi Lu is carrying? I'll solve your problem for you. Once I get rid of that little bastard, you'll marry me." She tried to say more. Thud. Su Anqing suddenly produced a sharp scalpel from his person and plunged it into her throat in one swift motion. Meng Chen died on the spot, her eyes wide open in death. Chaos erupted at the scene, but the police, fearing for the safety of others, hesitated to move in and could only surround Su Anqing. "Drop your weapon, drop your weapon." Su Anqing ignored it, instead turning a face full of anguish towards me. "My love, I've avenged our child, will you ever forgive me?" I turned my head away, refusing to look at him. "Of course I wouldn't. Yeah, a beast like me doesn't deserve forgiveness." Su Anqing laughed at himself. "I'm sorry, my child. I'm sorry, my love. After I die, you must perform an autopsy on my body, donate my organs, and see for yourselves if my heart is black." With that, Su Anqing plunged the bloodied scalpel deep into his own chest. He collapsed to the ground, covered in blood. Yet even in his dying moments, he dragged himself toward me with immense effort. "Me, Milu, next life." I knew what he wanted to ask. If there is a next life, would I give him a chance to atone? Never. I rose coldly and walked away without a backward glance. Thud. The scumbag was now a corpse. "Sweetheart, mommy got your revenge." Story 2. I rushed into the fire to save my childhood friend, but he locked me inside instead. After being disfigured, my parents despised me and adopted a daughter to replace me. The fake heiress abducted me to a mountain village, where I got pregnant 4 times in 3 years. I pretended to be obedient while waiting for a chance to escape back home. The fake heiress clung to her childhood sweetheart's arm and mocked me, while my parents remained distant and indifferent. In the end, I died in a car accident because the fake heiress urgently needed a heart. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of the fire. I still rushed forward without hesitation. Before Juma could run out, I locked him inside with a backhanded move. "Help, help." 1. My eyes snapped open, only to be met with thick smoke that sent me into a coughing fit. Before me raged a towering inferno. I glanced at the princess dress I was wearing and narrowed my eyes. Had I gone back to when I was 7 years old? Xian's screams still echoed in my ears. In my previous life, I rushed over the moment I heard his cries, stumbling and crawling forward, just wanting to pull him out. Clearly, I was terrified too, but after I pulled him out, he panicked and slammed the door shut, running away himself, leaving me inside to be consumed by the sea of flames. The blazing flames filled my entire vision, stirring an inexplicable excitement in my heart as exhilaration crawled up my throat. "Xian, the gears of fate have turned full circle once more." I stood up and charged forward without hesitation. Xian's figure flickered faintly amidst the flames, just before he could rush out. Bang! I raised my foot and kicked the scorching iron door shut. "This door automatically locks when closed. He can't get out. Why is the door closed?" Xian cried and roared, his voice terrifyingly hoarse. "Shoo shoo, are you there? Open the door. Save me." His voice grew weaker, coughing more violently. I stared at the tightly shut door before me, as if seeing him just beyond its threshold. I forced a grin and said with a tearful voice, "Don't worry, I'll get someone to save you." When both sets of parents came running, I was curled up in a fire-safe corner, trembling uncontrollably. My mother rushed to me, crying, "Shoo shoo." She pulled me into her arms. "Are you okay, sweetheart? Let mom take a look." My face was cupped by a pair of soft hands. These were the hands that once brought me warmth, yet also the hands that ended my life. I instinctively frowned and avoided them. She only thought I was frightened. Seeing my princess dress tattered by the licking flames and my grimy face, tears streamed down her face like rain. "It's mommy's fault for not protecting you," she sobbed, her hands trembling as they carefully touched my face. I sneered inwardly. The Lin couple are extreme perfectionists. Their most satisfactory creation is me. They become happy when hearing others praise me. Then they present everything I casually mentioned right before me, after I was disfigured in the fire. Their love stopped there. The way they looked at me was like looking at a rat. After confirming my face was unharmed, my mother quickly picked me up and fled the fire. I shrank against her shoulder, watching a group of people desperately smash open the iron door. Cian was already unconscious when rescued, covered in blood. He was taken to the hospital. I was brought home by my parents. Thank goodness you're alright. How could I go on living if something happened to you? Mother cried again. Anyone who didn't know would think she was genuinely worried about me. All she cares about is this face. Father also breathed a sigh of relief. They failed to see the fleeting malice in my eyes. After that day, I seemed to be scared out of my wits, too. I stopped laughing and playing around. My parents tried every possible way to cheer me up, but couldn't bring even a hint of smile to my face. They assigned me a psychologist. I cooperated throughout the whole process. Eventually diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. From then on, my parents always smiled when facing me, speaking softly and gently. I think, even if I wanted the moon from the sky, they would find a way to bring me a handful of lunar soil, but still, I didn't smile. My parents grew anxious. Sweetheart, is there anything you want? My mother held me close and asked softly. My father also leaned in. Whatever you desire, I'll move heaven and earth to place it before you. I lowered my gaze, concealing the coldness in my eyes. Yes, that's exactly the kind of people they are. Less than a year after I escaped in my previous life, their precious adopted daughter was diagnosed with heart disease. That girl pointed at me and said she wanted to take my heart. They personally arranged a car accident for me. Indeed, by every possible means. I raised my hand and pointed at the TV. A period drama was playing on the TV. I want her, I said. Father waved his hand. Find this actor for the young lady. I shook my head. He raised his hand to stop it. He looked at me again. What does my baby want? Daddy didn't understand you. I blinked innocently. I want a maidservant. That female celebrity I just pointed at plays a maidservant in the TV drama. The parents exchanged glances after hearing this. This is getting a bit tricky. This is a democratic and free society. Where could we possibly find a maidservant, if it's someone to play with me? They'd have to be around 7 or 8 years old. Child labor is even more illegal. Seeing their troubled expressions, I deliberately lowered my head with a sad look. It's okay if you can't. Father anxiously paced around the living room. Mother held my small hand. How could it not be possible? You can have anything you want. I knew they would definitely come up with a solution. Soon, Father tapped his index finger in the air. I've got it, the orphanage. As my parents launched into detailed discussions, I smiled silently. Yes, that's exactly right, my dear parents. I dug the pit. Since you love me so much, you'll jump right in obediently, won't you? My parents took me to orphanages all over the city. 3, we saw hundreds of children. I was dissatisfied with each one. Because none of them were her, the parents were also dissatisfied. Their extreme perfectionism meant that even when bringing home a pet, it had to be the most aesthetically pleasing one. After a month, nothing was achieved. That also suggests that in their previous life, the parents must have put considerable effort into finding an adoptive daughter who could satisfy them. We searched from within the province to outside it. Finally, in the south over 2,000 kilometers away, we found a fresh and lovely girl. Upon hearing the parents' request, the director immediately brought out a girl. This is Duo. Her skin was delicate and snow-white, with baby fat making her look adorable and well-behaved. Upon seeing my parents, the girl's eyes turned red and teary. My mother frowned slightly. Pretty she may be, but she cries too much. We can't take her. After all, she was to be my maid. Being too petty wouldn't do. Father also nodded repeatedly. Upon hearing this, the girl pursed her lips and forcibly held back her tears. I don't cry easily. I'm just too happy. Mom and Dad, my name is Suidwa. After speaking, she pinched her skirt with her small hands and bowed to my parents like a little lady. Both parents frowned simultaneously. The mother said discontentedly, "What nonsense are you shouting, child? Who are you calling Mom and Dad? I haven't called them that since the fire." They're waiting for me to speak up. They couldn't care less about others calling them that. Suidwa's expression froze. Her wide eyes filled with disbelief. What are you talking about? Weren't you here to adopt me? The father glanced at the director, his voice indifferent. Does this child have some sort of delusional disorder? The director looked somewhat awkward. Well, she's not usually like this. Only then did mother say, it's not us who want to adopt a child, it's old Wang. Old Wang was our family's driver. Suidwa's small frame suddenly trembled. How is this possible? This is different. It's not like this. Why? She was still muttering to herself when old Wang walked in through the door. Seeing the unwilling expression on Suidwa's face, he also became unhappy. He's 30 this year, married with both a son and daughter, and originally didn't want to adopt a child. but my father offered a high price, just adopt a daughter under his and his wife's name, and his annual salary would increase by 200,000, rounding up. As a driver, his annual salary approaches 400,000. So tears streamed from the corner of his mouth as he agreed without any backbone. It seems that only by thinking of this money did old Wang manage to calm himself down. Yes, I want to adopt a child, the dean asked Suidwa. Duo, do you agree? She tightly clutched her skirt, visibly trembling all over. It's a bit strange. Could she also have memories from her past life? With this question in mind, I stepped out slowly from behind my mother in my little pink leather shoes. Suidwa's gaze fixed on my face as the words escaped her lips. Who are you? My mother shielded me like a hen protecting her chick. This is the heiress of the Lin family, mind your tone. Suidwa was shocked. Impossible, you're not. In her memory, I was a disfigured monster, the kind she could bully at will, but she didn't know, the scales of fate had completely tipped in my favor. If she's not, then are you? The mother angrily retorted, if you continue being this rude, we won't consider adopting you anymore. I'm sorry. She hastily lowered her head, looking pitifully vulnerable. Of course she wouldn't give up, even if it meant becoming old Wang's adopted daughter now. As long as there's a chance to get close to my parents, that's good enough. I pretended to be startled by Suidwa and buried my face in my mother's neck. The smile at the corner of my lips simply couldn't be suppressed. Here comes another fool who jumps at every trap. My parents and old Wang were handling the paperwork, while Suidwa and I returned to the car first. As soon as we got in the car, her well-behaved facade completely vanished. Lin Shu, how come your face isn't disfigured yet? Her asking this wasn't strange. In my previous life, when my parents adopted her, my face had already been disfigured. How pretty. I lifted my eyelids and glanced at her indifferently. You must have put a lot of effort into dressing up, right? Wearing a clean little dress with 2 adorable braids, just waiting for my parents to come adopt her. What a pity, all that effort wasted. They don't love you anymore, so you really have memories from before too. She stomped her feet. Lin Shu, it was you who made me become old Wang's foster daughter, wasn't it? I grinned. Wrong guess. With me around, they'd never adopt another child. They only went through the trouble of having old Wang take you in to fulfill my request. What do you mean by that? Her little face flushed red with anger. I glanced at the approaching figures outside the window, lowered my head and sat quietly, reverting to my usual silent demeanor. She lunged at me. Stop playing dead with me. As the car door opened, my mother saw her making aggressive gestures at me, grabbed her by the collar. Chenidwa, if you dare bully my daughter, I'll throw you out to get hit by a car and die. She would absolutely do it. Suidwa knew this, because this was how my previous life ended. She pursed her lips, looking somewhat aggrieved. My name is Suidwa. The mother expressionlessly dragged her to the back row. Who cares what your name is? After saying that, she pulled me into her embrace, her tone extremely gentle. Were you scared, baby? Don't be afraid, mommy's here. I tilted my head and nuzzled against her shoulder. Consider it her reward. Her eyes lit up as she looked at father. Honey, look quickly. It was absolutely the right decision to find a maid for our precious child. The father nodded approvingly. Suidwa, sitting in the back row, turned pale. What maid? What are you talking about? No one answered her. After returning home, Lao Wan drove away, while Suidwa stayed behind. She walked upstairs by instinct from her past life. Her mother grabbed her. Where are you going? Your room is here. She was assigned to the maid's room. That night, she buried herself under the blanket and cried loudly, holding the teddy bear. I leaned against her doorway and gradually smiled. Her crying sounded so beautiful. I sat primly at the dining table like a little princess. The next day, Suidwa was ordered into the kitchen to bring me breakfast. Watching her struggle on tiptoe to place breakfast on the table, I raised my hand and deliberately knocked it over. It spilled all over her. Ah! She screamed involuntarily. What's wrong? What happened? My mother heard the noise and hurried downstairs. Seeing the mess on the floor, she quickly ran over and hugged me. After confirming I was unharmed, she glared coldly at Suidwa. Why are you so clumsy? If you'd hurt Shushu, I'd chop off your hand. I am the flawless artwork in their eyes. Of course, not a single scratch is allowed. The nanny combs my hair. Not a strand more than 10 per day shall fall, or they'll all be fired. Suidwa's tears fell in large drops. Mom, why are you treating me like this? I'm your child too. The mother looked at her with disgust, then turned to comfort me. Shushu, she's not quite right in the head. Should mom get you a different maid? I shook my head. No, I want her and only her. It has to be her. Anyone else would be utterly dull. 3 months had passed since the fire. 5. The Xia couple brought Xian to the door. He kept hesitating and hiding behind the Xia couple. Not daring to come out, Madame Xia looked at me with reddened eyes. Shushu, tell auntie, why did the door suddenly close? The mention of the fire terrified me. I shrank back and buried myself in my mother's arms. My mother quickly held me tight. Father glared at them disapprovingly. What kind of question is that? The psychologist said Shushu has trauma-related stress. Stop bringing up the fire with her. Madame Xia burst into tears, and then said that just as he was about to run out. The door was closed. We just wanted to ask again if Shushu saw who closed the door. No, I didn't. I lifted my head from my mother's embrace, revealing innocent eyes. The wind was so strong. I went over after seeing the fire, but I was too slow. My father rubbed my head. It's okay, sweetheart. You don't need to blame yourself. After speaking, he turned his gaze to Mr. and Mrs. Xia. I know you're also concerned about Anin, but Shushu's condition is already very bad. The police have investigated. There were no fingerprints on the door, no traces of a third person. The door is so light that if there had been strong wind, it would have simply closed. Actually, there was no wind that day, not even a breeze, but there were no surveillance cameras there either. In my previous life when Xian locked me inside, he claimed it was the wind that blew it shut. Everyone believed it. Brilliant. This method was actually suggested by him to me. He has no one to blame but himself, being meddlesome and playing with fire. Su Yidwa walked out, with guests present. She didn't need to work. Her eyes lit up when she saw the Xia couple, immediately ran forward. Hello, uncle and aunt. The Xia couple looked puzzled. What's this? Mother smiled faintly. Old Wang's adopted daughter, here to play with Shushu. Su Yidwa struggled to maintain a smile on her face. Spotting the figure behind the Xia couple, she rushed over immediately. Come join us and play. As she spoke, she reached out and pulled Xian forward. Ah! After clearly seeing Xian's face, Su Yidwa let out a scream and fell to the ground. Watching this scene, I almost burst out laughing. Didn't expect this, did you? The handsome and perfect fiancé from your past life has turned into an ugly monster with a face full of pits and scars. Xian has recovered, but the burn scars cannot be repaired. The burn area covers up to 90% of his body, leaving no healthy skin for transplantation. Pretty miserable, right? But my previous life was like this too. At least his parents still love him, while my parents heartlessly abandoned me. He is luckier than me. How frustrating. What are you doing? The mother scolded Su Yidwa angrily, but the moment she saw Xian, she clearly froze too. The intensity of her past fondness for Xian is now matched by her current dislike. Su Yidwa couldn't believe her eyes. How could this be? After saying this, she turned to look at me. Lin Shu, it must be your doing, right? Slap. Her mother angrily slapped her across the face. She covered her face as tears instantly streamed down. You hit me. The mother couldn't take it anymore. Shushu, must it be her? Mom can't stand her anymore. Can't handle this already. I endured it for a long time in my previous life. You'll have to bear with it obediently. I glance at Xian, trembling voice, Anin is so ugly. I'm scared. Xian froze instantly in place, as if stripped naked and subjected to ridicule. Shushu, please don't be afraid of me. Okay, he seems very upset. I just gave him back the words he said to me. Ahem, my father coughed tactically. Old Xia, let's cancel the marriage alliance between our families. As you can see, Shushu is afraid of him. President Xia is furious. What do you mean by this? What about the collaboration between our families? The Lin and Xia families are preparing a major project with enormous benefits. Without the bond of marriage, neither side would trust the other. President Xia is a profit-driven person who would never willingly give up this project. My father was also somewhat embarrassed, but he didn't want a freak as his son-in-law at all. I gently tugged at my mother's sleeve, and when she looked at me, I raised my hand to point at Su Yidwa. Mother's eyes lit up. You mean, she smiled, looking at the Xia couple. Marry Su Yidwa. Madame Xia was stunned. What are you saying? She's just a chauffeur's adopted daughter. My father caught on quickly. So what? Old Wan has been my driver for over a decade. He's my most trusted person. As long as you proceed with the marriage alliance, our cooperation continues. Otherwise, let's terminate it. The Xia couple reluctantly agreed in the end. On one hand, it was for the sake of benefits. On the other hand, with Xian in this state, even with wealth, he might not necessarily marry a particularly good woman in the future. Although Su Yidwa was just the driver's adopted daughter, she was quite beautiful. Su Yidwa couldn't believe her ears. No, I don't want to. I refuse. Slap. My mother slapped her again. Then go back to your orphanage. The marriage was finally settled. 6. Because Suidwa didn't want to return to the orphanage. She still deluded herself into thinking that staying would allow her to regain the wealth and glory of her past life. Even if she married Xian, she could still become a wealthy socialite. From then on, she served me tea and water every day, she carried my school bag and held an umbrella for me when it rained. She wouldn't lay a hand on me so easily. She's waiting for an opportunity. At the age of 10, after serving as a maid for 3 full years, she finally got her chance. On the way home from school, she mentioned a street with really delicious candy and asked if I wanted to go buy some. I agreed without any hesitation. She excitedly carried my backpack as we walked over. I reached out to take my backpack back. You go stand in line to buy it. I'll wait here for you. Okay. A glint of mischief flashed in her eyes. Watching her retreating figure, I slowly smiled. Darting into a corner, I pulled out my phone and started composing a text. Blue and white school uniform, high ponytail. Only one matches this characteristic. After sending it, I deleted the text message. After buying food, Suidwa turned around, didn't see me, and smiled happily. Did she think I was kidnapped like in the previous life? She ate cream puffs while skipping along with light steps. A van stopped beside her, and a large hand pulled her inside. The door closed. The vehicle drove away. After witnessing this scene, I called my father on the phone. My father's voice was gentle. Shoo, what's wrong? Duo is missing, I said quietly. I'm alone, and I'm scared. My father came to pick me up immediately. My school bag has a recording function, which they installed for my safety. After listening to the recording, it's clear that Suidwa dragged me into that alley. According to what I said, she disappeared after going shopping. They went to report it to the police, but couldn't find it. In my previous life, Suidwa abandoned me on that street, letting me get kidnapped. Even if I was burned into a hideous monster, in that remote mountain village, there were still people who wanted me. It only cost $100, poke some holes in a sack and put it over my head. From then on, I lived with a sack over my head. At first, I worked as their laborer, doing the heaviest jobs and eating the worst food. When I turned 14, those unmarriageable uncles and elders started sneaking into my room. My body was covered in scars. So I never took off my clothes. Just pulling down my pants was enough. In 3 years, I got pregnant 4 times. I pretended to be obedient the whole time until I finally found a chance to escape. Over 7 years, that van would frequently come to the village selling several girls. The police never caught them, but I did memorize their phone number. So, Suidwa repeated her old trick, hoping I'd be abducted. I was also plotting to sell her off. She's so beautiful. Surely more people would like her in that mountain village. Suidwa was trafficked, halting the collaboration between the Lin and Xia families. Neither said to continue, nor explicitly stated to terminate. 7 years passed in a flash. I've grown up. Excellent genetic inheritance, coupled with the energy my parents invested in me, an ethereal grace, with a face of flawless perfection. Academic excellence paired with a photographic memory, honed to near-perfect recall through training. Graduated from a prestigious university at 16, now assisting father in managing the family business. My parents took me to high society banquets across domestic and international circles. I will always be the most eye-catching one. Most importantly, the unattainable crown prince of the capital's elite circle is currently pursuing me with fervor. Swirling my glass of red wine, I suddenly thought of Suidwa. I wonder how she's doing, as long as she doesn't seek death herself. She must still be alive now. It's time to bring her back. I took the initiative to ask my father for the cooperation plan between the Lin and Xia families. President Xia is getting old. People have become even greedier. Hearing that this collaboration still had potential, they eagerly came to me. I pushed the contract in front of him. This project will continue our collaboration, but it will all be handed over to Xia Corporation to handle. Hearing this, President Xia was surprised. Why? The Lin Group has nearly completed its transformation, and this project isn't suitable for them. I'll only take the shares and won't hold back on required investments. As for how to proceed, let the Xia Group handle it. The windfall made President Xia somewhat hesitant. I sighed. Uncle Xia, our families have been close friends for generations. When I was young, I really didn't think before speaking to Xian, and I feel very guilty about it. We previously agreed to do this project, and no matter what, it won't be cancelled. Don't you trust me? Only then did he feel relieved and happily agreed. 5 months later, an accident occurred at Xia Corporation's newly developed project, resulting in 8 deaths. It was a shoddy construction project, and President Xia was taken away for investigation. Watching the news broadcast on my phone, I laughed and fell back onto the bed, laughed until tears came out. Ha, dead, all dead, good riddance. I heard some fell from great heights, with steel piercing straight through their temples, some foundations collapsed, crushing people into pulp. That scene, just imagining it, must be absolutely beautiful. Why would I be so kind as to let President Xi make money? I just know his true nature. Invest in him. But keep tight control over the funds. To control costs, he was reluctant to spend from his own Xi family's funds, so costs were strictly controlled, using the lowest quality materials for everything. In the previous life, the Xi family also had shoddy construction projects. Though no one died, all 8 deaths in this lifetime were caused by me. I disguised myself to recruit workers, deliberately sending the message to the village chief in the mountain village, 1,000 a day. Who could resist such temptation? Out of the dozens who signed up in the village, I only picked those 8 who had bullied me. Then I stuffed them into that construction site. I laughed until I nearly went mad. Those who wronged me in my past life shall meet no peaceful end in this one. And, for more, the police visited the hometowns of the 8 people who died at the construction site. They discovered Suidwa, who had been trafficked. 8. Then they brought her back. Her skin was dark, her eyes lifeless, her arms were covered in scars. Upon seeing my parents, she shed murky tears. Mom and Dad, I've finally returned to you. She's either still delusional or she's gone mad. The disdain on the parents' faces was unmistakable. Just held my hand and said, stay away from her. She's filthy. Who knows if she's carrying any diseases? I looked indifferently at Suidwa without saying a word. She yelled at me, Lin Shu. It's your fault. You deserve to die. Why wasn't it you? You should have been the one tied up. Slap. Her mother slapped her across the face, only realized after finishing, hurriedly went to wash hands. So disgusting. I looked straight into Suidwa's fiery eyes and said coolly, seems you've truly gone mad. Had a hard time there, didn't you? I'll forgive your rudeness this time. You'll die a horrible death. She roared. That's a bit funny. I already died a miserable death in my past life. This time it should be their turn. Did she forget? Suidwa is so crazy. Old Wan doesn't want to acknowledge her. In the end, it was me who spoke up and had her stay with the Lin family, still living in that nanny's room. I thought Suidwa would make a big scene, but on the contrary, throughout the entire week, she was quieter than anyone else, did nothing. This attitude couldn't help but catch my attention. Barking dogs seldom bite. Who knows what she's scheming now, busy or not. Most of my time is spent on work, every day when I arrive at the office. There's always a bouquet of flowers with jewelry placed on my desk. I grab it and toss it aside. Men are nothing but an eyesore, yet this annoying man keeps pushing himself into my sight. He parked his car right at the company entrance, leaning lazily against the body, head bowed while playing with his phone, his expression cold and aloof, standing there with his 1.9-meter frame next to a luxury car worth millions. He was impossible to miss. Seeing me come out, he put away his phone. Miss Lin, care to join me for dinner? I put on my sunglasses. Thanks, but no thanks. With that, I got into my car. He smirked slightly but didn't insist. I just got home. Suidwa came out of the room, dragging her suitcase and rolling her eyes at me. Where are you going? I asked. None of your business. I won't live under someone else's roof. I'm moving out right now. I didn't stop her, watching her figure fade into the distance. Where could she possibly go, as long as she's on Earth? She can't escape my grasp. I went to bed early that night, tossed and shaken in sleep, opening eyes to utter darkness, both hands and feet bound tight. Suidwa, you've truly lost it. The car finally came to a stop in the suburbs. The trunk opened. 9. Suidwa reached out and dragged me down. I hit the ground, gritting my teeth in pain. Suidwa stepped on my stomach with one foot, looking down at me from above. Lin Shu, your time has come. She wore all her malice openly on her face. She bent down and was about to slap me across the face repeatedly. I raised my legs and kicked hard at her knees. I seized the chance to roll under the car. Lin Shu, you damn bitch, get out here. Suidwa roared, kicking the car door with all her might. Can't you climb in yourself? Came a man's voice. I recognized that voice. Xian. Oh, she's teamed up with Xian. Expected as much, but it's quite tricky. I know they're up to something, but I didn't expect them to act so suddenly. Without proper preparation, my chances are slim. Suidwa crawled under the car, trying to pull me in. I curled up, waited for the right moment, and kicked her face hard. Blood streamed from her nose, yet she didn't retreat an inch, determined to drag me out. Lin Shu, I swear I'll kill you with my own hands. My life is already ruined, and I won't let you get away unscathed. But no matter how she tried, she couldn't lay a hand on me. Instead, I kicked her several times, gotta admit. It's pretty tough, must have taken quite a beating back in the village, huh? If it weren't for my plan, she probably wouldn't have even tried to escape. We're stuck in a tug-of-war. Suddenly, my arm was seized tightly, and I was dragged out, facing Xian's horrifically disfigured face head-on. My heart sank. He raised his hand and slapped me across the face, then he lifted his foot and kicked me hard in the abdomen. I rolled over twice, the pain making me break out in a cold sweat. Xian's voice was vicious. Lin Shu, you're the one who ruined my face. Su Yidwa added fuel to the fire. Believe me, in our past life, she was the one who got disfigured, and she was also the one who got trafficked. Xian raised his head, his hoarse voice sounding utterly chilling. Why are you doing this to me? We grew up together, didn't we? Why would you want to harm me? Am I ugly? He squatted down, grabbed my hair, and forced me to look up at him. Say it, am I ugly? I chuckled coldly. Xian, don't you have any self-awareness about your ugliness? Let me tell you, you're hideous, so ugly it defies all human comprehension. I wasn't afraid of provoking him, if they were capable of kidnapping me. They'd clearly already decided to silence me permanently, since I'm doomed to suffer anyway. Why should I flatter them like some groveling coward? Ugly, you think I'm ugly? He laughed instead of getting angry. I'll take you right here. With that, he pressed himself onto me, planting messy kisses all over my neck. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I bit down hard on his ear and yanked fiercely. Warm blood splashed onto my face. Xian let out a scream and collapsed trembling to the side. I tore off his ear with my bare hands. Tui. I spat the ear onto the ground. So filthy. Disgusting. Su Yidwa was terrified. Lin Shu, you're insane. She rushed forward, but a tall figure stepped in front of her first. With a swift kick of his long leg, Su Yidwa was sent tumbling. The next moment, I fell into a firm embrace. It's all right now, he whispered softly, comforting me. I'm here. I haphazardly wiped the blood from my face onto his expensive shirt. Jiangju, what brings you here? I wanted to grab late-night snacks with you. Your housekeeper noticed you were missing, checked the surveillance and saw you being kidnapped, so I followed the trail. Thank you for his courage in coming to find me without hesitation. No need to thank me, just repay me with your hand in marriage. He reached out and touched my swollen cheek. I looked at him. Who hit me? As soon as I finished asking, Xian somehow managed to get up. He yanked me hard, then pressed a dagger against my neck. Get away. His hand kept trembling. A sharp pain shot through the neck, followed by warm liquid flowing down. 10. Jiangju's pupils constricted violently, but he truly dared not move recklessly, only maintaining a grim expression while confronting him. Ha 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 ha. Su Yidwa burst into laughter. Lin Shu, in the end, you still have to die. Do you know how I've lived these 7 years? I've toiled like an ox, bearing 5 children. All of this is your fault, I've always thought. If I could just survive and get out, I would definitely kill you. She kept laughing as she spoke. The laughter soon turned to tears. I remained unmoved, watching her coldly. Who hasn't been through those kinds of troubles before? Xian leaned close to my ear and whispered, this is retribution. You should have foreseen this day when you locked me up. The pain in my neck grew sharper as the blade pressed deeper. I turned my gaze and caught a glimmer of light in the distance. Move aside, I said to Jiangju. Jiangju was visibly stunned for a moment, but obediently stepped aside. Bang! Xian's laughter stopped abruptly. His forehead exploded, blood splattering everywhere, then collapsed straight down. The police have arrived. He was armed with a knife and had already harmed me. For my safety, upon receiving the order, a sniper was arranged to take the shot. Su Yidwa was arrested. As the handcuffs were being put on, she was still shaking her head in disbelief. Impossible. How could this happen? The one who should have died was clearly her. I was sent to the hospital. The knife wound on the neck was quite deep. Fortunately it didn't cut the major artery. After being stitched up, I was admitted to a VIP ward. Jiangju kept vigil by my side, with dark circles under his eyes. Do you really like me? I asked. He looked at me with heartache. Do you like me because I'm pretty? I asked again. Yes. I like your beauty, your intelligence, your composure, Lin Shu. I want to make you smile. His voice was very soft, as if speaking to himself. Laugh. I never laugh in front of others. Maybe he doesn't know I can actually laugh. When I'm alone, I laugh like crazy. Upon learning about my kidnapping, my parents rushed back from abroad in a panic. She looked at the wound on my neck, tears streaming down her face. 11. Repeatedly asking the doctor if it would leave a scar. Only after being assured it wouldn't did she finally relax, clutching my hand. Shoo. It's okay now. Su Yidwa has been sentenced to prison, 8 to 10 years. She won't be getting out. I remained expressionless. Just 8 to 10 years. What kind of punishment is that? Suidwa's crimes can only be atoned for by death. I want to go home, I said. They took me home and cared for me tenderly. My 18th birthday arrived. Because I was still injured, no coming-of-age ceremony was held. It was Jeongju who took the initiative to visit. A group of bodyguards followed behind, carrying gift boxes. Miss Lin, happy birthday, like a lingering ghost. I want to, but it doesn't seem that bad. My parents were overjoyed. Although the Lin family is a prestigious clan, compared to the Jeon family, there's still some distance. If we could form a marriage alliance with the Jeon family, the Lin family would surely soar to new heights, but they don't know that they can no longer control my life, because on this birthday, I've carefully prepared a gift for myself. Shoo. Mom and Dad need to go to the company for a while. We'll celebrate your birthday with you tonight. The mother smiled gently. I looked at her. Uncle Won doesn't seem to be here. It's fine, your dad can drive. Father nodded with a smile, reassuring me. I didn't speak again, just watched as he picked up the car key on the far left. After they left, Jeongju watched cartoons with me for a while. Do you like watching this? Keeping a childlike heart, I said. He placed all the gifts in front of me. Open the gifts, a total of 18 gift boxes. I slowly unwrapped them. You can tell he put a lot of thought into preparing this. Do you like it? He asked. As soon as the words were spoken, the phone rang. The phone was placed on the table. Note Dad. My eyes flashed as I raised the corners of my lips, smiling at him for the first time. I like it. Happy birthday, I said to myself in my heart, then answer the incoming call. Your parents were in a car accident and are being treated at the Third People's Hospital. Please come as soon as possible. I froze, and my phone fell to the ground. Jeongju was still immersed in my smile from earlier, and upon seeing this, hurriedly asked, "What's wrong?" I turned to look at him, tears streaming down my face. My parents, they were in a car accident. Jeongju drove me to the hospital. At the operating room entrance, I signed one critical condition notice after another. For a full 3 hours, I swayed and nearly collapsed. Jeongju caught me in his arms. Sit down for a while. Okay, I nodded weakly. His heart ached as he held me tighter. The surgery wasn't over yet when the police arrived first. We've discovered the car was tampered with, and it's registered under your name, Lin Shu. Do you know anything about this situation? I blinked slowly, taking a long moment before finally comprehending their question. What do you mean, you suspect me? That possibility isn't ruled out. Don't joke about this. Jeongju looked at the police. It couldn't be her. I was there when they left. Director Lin took the car keys himself. There were dozens of keys. If she did it, how could she guarantee Director Lin would choose that specific car? Would she tamper with every single vehicle? Hearing this, the police nodded. That possibility isn't ruled out. Then he looked at me and said, Miss Lin, may we inspect the other vehicles in your garage? With downcast eyes, I replied weakly, go ahead. The surgery was over. The outcome wasn't very promising. The mother is a high-level paraplegic, destined to spend her life confined to bed. 12. The father is brain-dead, with almost no chance of regaining consciousness. Hearing this news, I buried my face in Jeongju's shoulder, trembling with sobs. Shoo. He didn't know how to comfort me, just quietly patted my back. Don't cry anymore. Okay, let's go see them. I wasn't crying at all. I was laughing very happily. It doesn't matter if I don't die. They pampered me all my life in this lifetime. As if making up for some sins from the past life, I stopped laughing. And when I looked up again, my eyes were lifeless. Neither parent woke up. I arranged the best hospital room and highest grade nursing care for them. I stayed alone in the hospital room while Jeongju waited for me outside the door. Looking at their sleeping faces, I forced a smile and grinned at them. Dad, Mom, didn't you want to see me smile? Didn't you want to hear me call you? I'm calling you now. What a pity, you can't hear me, nor see me. It's okay. I'll take care of you for the rest of your lives. You might think I'm ugly, but I don't mind you at all. After leaving the hospital, Jeongju and I went to the police station. According to the investigation, no issues were found with the other vehicles. Moreover, a thorough investigation into my relationship with my parents revealed I had absolutely no motive for the crime. 13. Additionally, both Jeongju and his bodyguard can testify that my father took the key himself, and just like that, I was completely cleared of suspicion. Finally, the police found 2 strands of hair in the crashed car. Tests confirmed they belonged to Xian, but Xian was already dead. Dead men tell no tales. However, he had kidnapped me and nearly killed me. The police have basically concluded that he was the one who tampered with it. It's just that no one expected it would be driven away by my parents through a strange twist of fate. No one would know that the hair was pulled out by me when Xian kidnapped me, nor would they know that my father is left-handed and has a habit of taking things from the left. It's already very late. The police said I could go back now. I suddenly asked, is Suidwa still in detention? Can I go see her? Suidwa and I grew up together, so the police thought I was being sentimental. She was trying to kill me, yet I still visited her. Everyone thinks I'm too kind. Jiangju also frowned. What's the point of seeing her? You can go back first. He paused. You go ahead. I'll wait for you outside. I went in. After a careful glance around, there were no surveillance cameras, and the officer had left. In this small space, only Suidwa and I remained. She glared at me fiercely. What are you here for? To laugh at me. I smiled faintly. Suidwa, let me tell you a secret, one you don't know. Actually, you're Xian's biological sister. What nonsense are you talking? I'm not lying. In my past life, I always thought you resembled Lady Xia a bit. In this life, I secretly verified it. It's true. I smiled at her. What? She was too shocked to speak. In your past life, you even married Xian. Suidwa, how did your brother taste? She clenched her fists, trembling uncontrollably. You're lying to me, right? Stop talking nonsense. There's no way. I sighed. Ah, what a pity. President Xia is in prison for the Jerry-built project. Xian is dead. And although the Xia family is not what it used to be, a starved camel is still bigger than a horse, roughly estimated. It's still worth about 40 or 50 million. A glimmer flashed in her eyes. I couldn't help but laugh. However, all of this is in Madame Xia's hands. I'll find a way to take it. If I can't get it, I'll bankrupt the Xia family. Don't think you can inherit the family fortune just by getting out of prison. You. Suidwa gritted her teeth. Lin Shu, I'm already like this. What more do you want from me? I stood up with a smile. By the way, you guessed right. It was indeed me who had you kidnapped. You. Before she could finish her sentence, she suddenly clutched her chest and curled up in pain. I watched her struggle with amusement for about a minute before hastily running out. Officer, she seems to be sick. Just before he rushed out, Jiang suddenly had a heart attack. The police asked me what happened, with a tearful voice. I told her my parents were in a car accident, and she suddenly acted like this. The officer didn't believe it. What does your parents' accident have to do with her? I shook my head. I don't know either, but she's always called my parents mom and dad since childhood. The director, Uncle Wang, they all know about it. She's always been strange. Whether the police believed me or not, I still left. She died of a heart attack, having never gone to the hospital for a checkup before. No one knew she had heart problems, and I bear no responsibility whatsoever. My birthday passed in a flurry of chaos, but it was the happiest day of my life. So happy that I forgot to suppress the smile on my lips. 14. Jiangju was driving when he suddenly asked me, did you do all this? I paused and glanced at him. He kept his eyes on the road, voice calm. When you were kidnapped, both Suidwa and Xian said some strange things. Human trafficking, arson, Jiangju, I called him. Instead of answering, he asked, do you dare to date me? He didn't answer me and took me home. I went in without looking back, stepping over the scattered gifts on the floor without hesitation. Jiangju, I don't need anyone's love because I don't trust anyone. Loving myself is enough for me. Story 2. At the wedding, the green tea girl I had once helped publicly exposed my crimes in front of everyone. She slandered me, saying that I had humiliated her in every possible way and even tried to control her physically. She is a hypocritical scoundrel. My fiancé, whom I had trusted the most, also accused me with a pained expression. I never thought you were such a person. The green tea girl was live streaming on the spot, with tears in her eyes and a smile on her face. She said amidst my shock and bewilderment, I'm revealing this today in the hope that thousands and thousands of girls can be as brave as I am and stand up against authoritarianism. This speech, which seemed like that of a strong female protagonist, instantly gained her countless followers. However, I was stabbed to death by some extreme fans. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back at the moment when my fiancé wanted to ask my lawyer friend to help the green tea girl. I nodded readily. Sure, I must help. The stage is already set. If I don't step onto it, how can the play continue? 1. In my previous life, I died at the wedding that I thought would be the happiest moment of my life. When the MC invited the bridesmaids to send their blessings, San Chuxia, who was one of the bridesmaids, directly projected the screen and made public the conversations I had with her. Moreover, she cut out the parts that were favorable to me and only showed the conversations that were disadvantageous to me. Xia Heng immediately branded me as a disgrace on the spot. I will definitely not marry such a person. San Chuxia sobbed and questioned me. Pei Ku, You're jealous of the friendship between me and Xia Heng as classmates, you keep harassing me, carry out PUA on me, and even try to arrange people to control my movements. What goes around comes around. I will expose your true face to everyone. Then, suddenly, a person rushed onto the stage and stabbed at me with a knife. I dodged in a hurry, but was pushed forward by a force. When I turned around, I only saw Song Chuxiao retracting her hand. However, her movement was so fast that no one noticed it. At first, Xia Heng was stunned for a moment, but as soon as Song Chuxiao grabbed him and threw herself into his arms, crying that she was scared, he forgot about me, his fiancée, and let me be stabbed to death. It hurt so much. With my last bit of strength, I picked up the knife on the ground and rushed over, stabbing it into Xia Heng's chest, and before they could react, I stabbed him several more times. Let's die together, you scumbag. The reason I stabbed Xia Heng was just that he happened to be beside me at that time. It was actually a bit too lenient for Song Chuxia. When I opened my eyes, I was sitting in Xia Heng's office. With Xia Heng and Song Chuxia sitting opposite me, I immediately realized that I had returned to the time when I first got involved in this doomed relationship in my previous life. At this moment, the two people opposite were trying to use my connections to help Song Chuxia's father solve a troublesome matter. Hearing that I readily agreed to help, Xia Heng was not surprised at all. After all, I had always put his needs first. Song Chuxia was a bit overjoyed. That's great, thank you, Kiki. You're so lucky to have such a good husband like Xia Heng. If it weren't for him this time, I wouldn't know what to do. In my previous life, why didn't I notice this strong green tea flavor in her words? So I put my hands together and said piously, since Xia Heng is enough, then I will pray for you. Song Chuxia was stunned. What are you talking nonsense about? Didn't we talk about asking you to find lawyer Zhang Yang? I looked at the two of them and blinked. Of course not. Who do you think you are? Zhang Yang is a top lawyer in the country. The cases he takes on have never been lost. If we weren't college classmates, Xia Heng wouldn't have thought of asking me to jump the queue, because the cases in Zhang Yang's hands are already scheduled until next year. Song Chuxia stood up all of a sudden. Pei Ku, you're playing tricks on me. I looked at her disdainfully. Song Chuxia, in what capacity are you questioning me? You're just Xia Heng's high school classmate. Originally, out of consideration for him, I could have passed on a message for you. Now, forget it. Song Chuxia was furious. Without Xia Heng, who do you think you are? What right do you have to show off in front of me here? Do you believe that I'll go out and say that you're bullying me with your power? I rushed over and directly slapped her twice, one on each side of her face. I'm telling you, this is what it means to bully people with power. Song Chuxia was completely stunned. It was only after I finished slapping her that she reacted and pounced on me with a scream, trying to fight back. Xia Heng quickly reached out and grabbed her waist to stop her. Chuxia, calm down. There's still the matter of the lawyer. Song Chuxia stopped as if struck by lightning. She was filled with grief and indignation, but she couldn't do anything to me. In the end, ignoring Xia Heng's comfort, she covered her face and ran out. Xia Heng quickly followed her out. I sat on the sofa and waited, as steady as a mountain. When you're asking for help, you should have the attitude of someone asking for help. Moreover, having been reborn, I don't care about your face or dignity. The most important thing is that my mammary glands stay unblocked. Song Chuxia's case is neither too difficult nor too easy. Her father trusted others too easily and attracted a lot of people to invest in the project. He even overestimated his ability and became a guarantor. As a result, when those people ran away with the money, as the guarantor, he was immediately burdened with tens of millions of yuan in debt. In my previous life, because of a word from Xia Heng, I found Zhang Yang. Out of consideration for me, Zhang Yang used all of his connections. In the end, not only did he find the scammer, but he also helped Song Chuxia's father recover the investment money. I was involved in this case throughout the whole process, and I even paid the lawyer's fees in my previous life. I never told them about this. They just thought that they had easily hired a top lawyer in the industry and casually solved this troublesome matter. I just didn't expect that my sincere efforts would raise these two heartless people. At that time, Zhang Yang told me a lot of precautions that required Song Chuxia and her father to cooperate with, including what to say and what not to do. I helped convey these requirements, but unexpectedly, they became the evidence for her to frame me. This time, I won't get involved in their matter anymore. I want to see how Song Chuxia can turn the tables on this, too. It took Xia Heng a long time to come back. He hesitated for a moment and then said, Kiki, Chuxia was just too anxious and said things without thinking. You've always been very kind-hearted. Please help her. She's really pitiful. Is she pitiful? Aren't those families who were deceived by the scammer and her father and lured into the partnership pitiful? Whenever it came to Song Chuxia, Xia Heng would unconditionally take her side. Why did I always think that this was just normal classmates' affection before? Could a high school classmate who graduated many years ago and who seemed to have barely said a few words to him make him give his heart and soul like this? I didn't dare to look up at Xia Heng, for fear that the hatred in my eyes would be noticed by him too early. After all, the company will go public in a month. With the shares I hold, I will soon become a multimillionaire. I deliberately softened my tone and said with a hint of grievance, I was just too angry. I'm not the kind of person who would turn a blind eye to someone in need. Moreover, you know Zhang Yang's rules. I was just joking when I said I would pray for her. How could she say such things to me? It's too much. After hearing what I said, Xia Heng could only say reluctantly, she really shouldn't have said that. She was just too anxious. You can help make the connection first, and we'll see about other things later. I nodded readily. It's just about saying a few words. Who cares what I say? Just as I was about to leave, Xia Heng called me back again. Ms. Pei, wait a moment. I turned around in confusion. Mr. Xia, is there anything else? We had once agreed to conduct business affairs in the company in a formal manner, so when it came to company matters, we would directly address each other by our positions. Xia Heng motioned for me to sit down again, and then he took out an agreement to give up the original shares. I carefully read through the agreement. The company would buy back the original shares in my hands at 1.5 times the estimated listing price and also bear the cost of my purchase of the original shares, calculated. It could give me 5 million yuan. This was indeed a very generous condition. If I didn't know that the company's stock price would soar after going public and that the value of the shares in my hands would be far more than 5 million yuan, I might have agreed. It seemed that he wanted to kick me out of the company. I looked up. Mr. Xia, what is this? Xia Heng was very cautious. Ms. Pei, considering our relationship, I think it would be more appropriate for you not to hold the company's shares in the future. I remained silent. What kind of nonsense was this? Xia Heng licked his lips and continued. Ms. Pei, think about it. So many couples start a company together, but in the end, not only does the company go bankrupt, but the family also falls apart. I'm doing this for our future. I thought for a moment. Then there's no problem. I'll just keep the shares and not participate in the company's operation and management. I'll step back and stay behind the scenes. Once the company goes public, I'll sell the shares. You can do whatever you want. I won't work for you anymore. I guess Xia Heng didn't expect that I wouldn't take the bait even with such a good condition. Ms. Pei, you're the vice president of our company. I understand your feelings, but I still think you should prioritize the family. What's more, we're family. We share weal and woe. It's more beneficial for the company's development if the shares are all concentrated in my hands. I didn't respond. I just kept my head down and remained silent, indicating my refusal. Xia Heng gritted his teeth and said reluctantly, looking a bit pained, well, considering that you're a founding member of the company has decided to buy back the original shares in your hands at a total price of 10 million yuan and transfer the money to your account in one lump sum. What do you think, Ms. Pei? Even if the company goes public, you might not earn as much as you can get now. I knew this was already his limit. Moreover, with his attitude, I didn't want to stay here any longer, so I looked up with a sad expression. Actually, I really have deep feelings for the company. But since you're thinking so much about our future, I have to accept it. After all, my future is also yours. Xia Heng quickly asked his secretary to draw up a new agreement and asked me to sign it. The whole process took less than 10 minutes. After seeing the information about the money arriving in my bank card, I was ready to leave. Xia Heng called me back again. I looked at another agreement in front of me. It was an agreement to terminate the labor contract and also included a 2N compensation for me. This eagerness to kick me out of the company wouldn't have happened at this time in my previous life. After all, at this moment, I was still a senior employee of the company and in control of most of the company's business. Laying me off was equivalent to cutting off the main artery. Unless he was so confident that he didn't care about my leaving at all. I belatedly realized that Xia Heng might have been reborn too. After all, only a reborn Xia Heng could act with such confidence. It seemed that I stabbed him quite accurately at that time and didn't leave him any chance to survive. However, this time I was really confused. What deep hatred did we have that he needed to drive me to the brink of despair like this? If we really had to look into it, it should be me who had the hatred. 3. Xia Heng and I used to be comrades with a tacit understanding of cooperation. When the company was first established, I was the first employee of the company, starting as an assistant. I also took on administrative and personnel tasks. Later, I participated in product testing work. Later, when there was a shortage of developers, I taught myself the relevant courses and started to write code and do development clumsily, starting from the front end and then moving on to full-stack development. As the company's products gradually got on track, Xiaheng transferred me to the marketing department to expand the market. I led the people in the marketing department to take on one project after another bit by bit. I had put in so much effort to get to where I am today, and everything I have now is what I deserve. Now, as the vice president, I have also received the original shares that I deserve, just waiting for the company to go public so that I can finally have a good life. However, on the eve of the company's listing, Xiaheng asked me to sign an agreement to give up my original shares. Although he gave me a generous compensation, we both knew that this amount of money could never compare to the soaring market value of the company after it went public. I thought that was the end of it, but he actually wanted me to resign. Xiaheng finally seemed a bit guilty, his eyes were wandering, and he didn't dare to look me in the eye. Pei Ku, after all, the price at which the company bought back your shares this time is much higher than the estimated price. To avoid the discussions of other shareholders, I suggest that you resign. Don't worry, the company will give you all the compensation you deserve. I smiled self-deprecatingly. I understand, Mr. Xia. I request that the compensation for me be transferred to my account immediately in one lump sum today, if that's possible. I'll sign right away. Xiaheng agreed. In the end, the two of us put on a show of relieving someone of their military power over a cup of wine in front of his office door. We shook hands with smiles on our faces, gave each other a brief and polite hug, and finally said goodbye reluctantly. However, the company hasn't gone public yet. At this time, the Zhao Kuanin is not yet the Emperor Taizu of Song, and I'm not the sworn brother Shi Shoshin either. It's really disgusting. Everyone looked at me in shock as I packed up the things on my desk and said goodbye to them one by one. I just said that there were some family matters, although Mr. Xia was magnanimous enough to allow me to take a long leave of absence. I couldn't bear to delay the company's business, so I volunteered to resign. Finally, I left the company amidst everyone's regret. I had a lot of things, but I didn't plan to keep most of them. In the end, I only took away some of the things I used frequently, and the more than 10 million yuan in my bank card, which felt so cold, compared with the tens of millions of yuan I had in my previous life. This was of course not enough, however. Every minute and every second I spent with Xiaheng made me feel disgusted. Even if he hadn't done this today, I would have found a way to leave. I just didn't expect that he would take action first. I don't know when Xiaheng was reborn, but he didn't show any signs before, and now he suddenly wants to kick me out of the company. Could it be that he was just reborn? He was so eager. The only person I could think of was Song Chuxia. I also attended several of Xiaheng's high school classmates' gatherings. Xiaheng attended every year, and he even organized them out of his own pocket many times. I used to joke with him that after graduating for so many years, his feelings for his high school classmates were still so deep, and I wondered if there was a white moonlight among them. Xiaheng had a serious expression and told me not to say such things anymore. He said that no one could doubt his feelings for me. Among the few times I attended, Song Chuxia was always there. Song Chuxia originally came from a wealthy family. However, in recent years, her father had been deceived by some scammers who promised quick money and fell into their trap. Not only did her own family go bankrupt, but it also dragged down her relatives and friends, causing them to lose everything, and her father himself also carried a huge amount of debt. Song Chuxia was undoubtedly beautiful. Like a delicate flower on the verge of withering, sitting there with a slight frown, she evoked pity and affection. It wasn't until much later that I learned Song Chuxia came from a well-off family and had a cheerful personality. She treated Xiaheng, who came from a single-parent family at that time, equally and liked to include him in everything she did. This became a ray of light during Xiaheng's sensitive and vulnerable high school years. That's why, in his previous life, he could push me into the abyss together with Song Chuxia. The reason he pursued me was merely that I had worked with him for many years and was an excellent assistant, both in business and in life. What's more, after the company went public, I held a large amount of the company's equity, and he even made me the legal representative of the company. Marrying me was to maximize his interests. I was so stupid that I actually thought he had real feelings for me. After we got together, I obeyed him in everything and gave him my wholehearted devotion. When Xiaheng proposed helping Song Chuxia, I agreed without hesitation and even took the initiative to introduce my lawyer friend to assist her. Song Chuxia knew all this, I never expected that my kindness would be repaid with ingratitude. Just thinking about what I did in my previous life makes me want to slap myself. I was incredibly stupid. 4. When I told Zhang Yang the news of my departure, he looked relieved. "You've finally come to your senses." My eyes welled up with tears. During the year I was with Xia Heng, I treated him like a god. After all, starting my career under such a leader, I grew rapidly. We had been through hardships together, and he even took the initiative to pursue me after achieving success. Although it was just a simple be with me, I was once naive and gave him my sincere love, taking meticulous care of him. I loved him so much, looking up to him. And I wished I could tell the whole world, but that me from the previous life has already died. In this life, I will make them pay the price they deserve. Song Chuxia remained quiet for a long time, and even Xia Heng behaved himself. I didn't even need to ask around. News came to me on its own. It turned out that recently, they had been blocked at their doorstep by debt collectors and didn't dare to go out at all. Song Chuxia had always acted like a spoiled young lady. Now, being pushed to such a state, she no longer had the nerve to show off in front of me. Currently, Zhang Yang was her only hope, but since I had clearly refused her last time, she had to carefully plan to achieve her goal. I waited patiently, and I didn't have to wait long. At the anniversary celebration of Zhang Yang's law firm, celebrities from all walks of life were invited. As the former vice president of the company, I had long received the invitation, even though I had left the company. I was still Zhang Yang's friend, so I definitely had to attend to celebrate. As a well-known law firm in the industry, the anniversary celebration was grand. I arrived at the banquet hall early to expand my network. Xia Heng and Song Chuxia arrived together. Although he was my boyfriend, we hadn't contacted each other since I left the company last time. Their target was obvious. They headed straight for Zhang Yang. I just stood there, holding a wine glass, watching from a distance. After a brief conversation, Zhang Yang politely nodded and turned to leave. Unexpectedly, Song Chuxia reached out to stop him and said something to him. Then Zhang Yang looked at me in surprise. I put down my wine glass and walked over. "What's the matter, Mr. Lawyer?" Zhang Yang looked at me somewhat helplessly. "Miss Song said she wanted to tell me something about you that I didn't know. Is there anything you're hiding from me?" I looked at Zhang Yang innocently. "I don't think so. With our relationship, does Miss Song need to tell you anything?" Xia Heng watched coldly as Zhang Yang and I talked back and forth. He said, "Kiki, don't forget that I'm your boyfriend. You're flirting with Zhang Yang here. Do you even care about me?" He didn't lower his voice when he spoke. Both of them were outstanding figures in the industry, and today was Zhang Yang's event. As the vice president of the company, I knew many people. All of a sudden, everyone's attention in the hall was drawn. I could even imagine the front page headlines tomorrow. "Xia Heng, if we don't contact each other for 3 days, it's considered a breakup." When you were busy running around for Miss Song, did you completely forget that we haven't contacted each other for almost a month? Do you want me to show you what you've been doing this month? I looked at Song Chuxia and smiled lightly. "Miss Song, I'm also very curious to hear what secrets you, a stranger, want to reveal about me to my friend." Xia Heng took a step forward. "Pei Ku, don't go too far. Why bring Chuxia into our affairs? You bullied Chuxia in my office and slapped her face swollen. Shouldn't you apologize?" This accusation was even more explosive than the previous one. Xia Heng said, seemingly compassionately, "Chuxia has been heartbroken these days. She's only here today to hear your apology. Just apologize to her." I looked at the two of them expressionlessly. Truly, there's no limit to how shameless some people can be. 5. The banquet hall was in an uproar. In such a Vanity Fair, there were plenty of people eager to watch the drama, especially since this matter involved two well-known young talents in the industry. It was sure to attract attention in both the financial and gossip sections. "Lawyer Zhang is stealing someone's partner. Mr. Xia has been cuckolded. Vice President Pei looks weak and delicate, but she's actually so violent." Fortunately, Mr. Xia exposed Pei's true face regardless of his own reputation. Otherwise, if this vixen in the industry were let loose, who knows how many companies she would harm. For someone who wants to stay in society, such rumors are enough to destroy a person or a company. When Song Chuxia pretended to look pitiful and lowered her head, I straightened my back and smiled. "Mr. Xia, when we were still in a relationship, you were flirting with Song Chuxia. Even after she slandered me, you still protected her. People who didn't know might think she was your girlfriend." I slightly turned my head to face Song Chuxia. "Miss Song, did it feel good to order around the man I no longer want this past month? How about this? I don't need any compensation, just bow to me, and I won't pursue the matter of you being the mistress." Xia Heng's expression changed abruptly. As a powerful figure who had dominated the industry for many years in his previous life, his imposing manner silenced everyone around. Song Chuxia stood beside him, holding his arm, looking tearful. Kiki, what are you saying? I know you don't like me, but even if you bully me, why do you have to treat your own boyfriend like this? Xia Heng beside her looked pained and said impatiently, Kiki, if you've done something wrong, you should apologize, but considering it was a misunderstanding, we won't pursue it for now. As long as lawyer Zhang can help Chuxia, we'll let this matter go. Ah, so this was their plan, knowing that it would take a long time to get Zhang Yang's help through normal channels, and since I had clearly refused to assist, they used this method to create a scene at the law firm's anniversary celebration, forcing Zhang Yang to downplay the matter and tie him to their cause. I maintained a smile, calmly took out my phone, turned the volume to the maximum, and played a recording on the spot. Old Xia, sister-in-law isn't here today, and sister-in-law's family is in trouble. You can take care of her without holding back. Another person chimed in. Who's the elder and who's the younger isn't certain yet, right? Old Xia, ha ha ha. Xia Heng chuckled. Don't talk nonsense. Don't say such things in front of Pei Ku, she has a bad temper, and don't let Chuxia hear it, she'll be sad. The others agreed, we definitely know that. It's just that neither of the sisters-in-law is here. Xia Heng stared at me intently. When did you record this? I put away my phone. Guess, in my previous life, I didn't guard against them at all. I respected and loved Xia Heng deeply, even though I was sometimes annoyed by Xia Heng's excessive attention to Song Chuxia. In my heart, he was always the person I trusted the most, but every time I complained, Xia Heng would use PUA on me. Chuxia is just a bit willful, but she has a good heart. It's really too much of you to think this way. Then he would ignore me for several days, claiming it was for me to reflect. I would finally break down under his cold treatment and apologize forwardly. At that time, I saw him through rose-colored glasses. I had followed him since graduation, although there were some twists and turns. Reaching where we were now, I respected and admired him both in work and in thought. His occasional tenderness also made me fall deeply in love, making me feel that it was extremely rare for such a domineering CEO to spare some attention for me besides work, which was enough to prove my importance in his life. Back then, with little experience, I always thought that was just his personality, that he was a workaholic who gave all his tenderness to me besides work. It wasn't until I saw Song Chuxia that I realized Xia Heng wasn't born cold-hearted. It was just that I wasn't the one he cared about. I once saw him get up early to make breakfast and deliver it to Song Chuxia's house, just because he was afraid she would have a stomachache from not eating properly. I also saw him anxiously cancel a meeting to pick up Song Chuxia on a rainy day when she was trapped while shopping outside and couldn't get back. I thought it was because he wanted to cooperate with the Song family and because of their classmate relationship. It wasn't until I saw that Song Chuxia's father owed a huge debt and was on the verge of bankruptcy, yet Xia Heng was still running around for her, and all his tenderness towards me was just because I could help Song Chuxia. In my previous life, I was always trapped in this trap woven in the name of love. I wondered why Xia Heng was sometimes cold and sometimes warm towards me and why he didn't stand firmly by my side when I complained. Only after being reborn did I understand. Not loving someone means simply not loving them. 6. With this recording and the chaos created by Xia Heng and Song Chuxia earlier, it was obvious to anyone with eyes that the old Xia in the recording was Xia Heng. The scene was silent for a moment, and then the whispers grew louder and louder. Even those who were a bit farther away couldn't hear clearly, but the people around them quickly pulled them aside and shared the news with excitement. Xia Heng and Song Chuxia lost all face. They didn't dare to mention anything else and left in a hurry. The situation was quickly turned around. Zhang Yang raised his glass and announced loudly, I believe in Vice President Pei's character. For those of you here who have had business dealings with Vice President Pei, I'm sure you have your own judgment. The anniversary celebration ended without major incident, and my reputation wasn't maliciously spread. When it was just Zhang Yang and me, he finally said seriously, tell me the truth. What's really going on? I immediately started complaining. Song Chuxia is Xia Heng's white moonlight. Maybe after being a young lady for too long, she's jealous of my smooth sailing. When she's down, she wants to smear me. I pretended to cry. It's bad enough that my ex-boyfriend doesn't believe me, and now my best friend is also questioning me. Zhang Yang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. All right, this matter is over for you. Just go about your business and ignore them from now on. I wasn't convinced. Why should it be over just like that? A cold smile curled up on Zhang Yang's usually serious face. They should think twice before trying to scheme against me. Let's see what they're capable of. Finally, I felt at ease. Offending me might cause some trouble, but offending lawyer Zhang would mean being completely crushed. I heard that the two of them still went to Zhang Yang's law firm later. I don't know what Zhang Yang said to them, but now they don't bother me anymore and even go out of their way when they see me. I don't care. In fact, I've started openly clashing with Song Chuxia. Didn't she say I bullied her? Since she and her parents didn't dare to live in their house openly, I arranged for people to keep watch. As soon as there was any movement, I would immediately notify their debt collectors. In a society ruled by law, debt collectors couldn't go too far, but it was enough to keep them in constant fear. Just thinking about it makes me want to eat a big bowl of rice. I even deliberately waited on her way to see her make a fool of herself. Song Chuxia looked at me with venomous eyes, but she still gritted her teeth and apologized with tears in her eyes. Miss Pei, I'm sorry, I don't know what I did to offend you. Please spare me and my family. Okay, I looked at her innocently. Song Chuxia, do you have paranoia? I'm a law-abiding citizen. When I see something unfair, I just do a good deed. Song Chuxia was stunned. I raised my eyebrows. Did she think I didn't notice the video recording on her phone that she secretly started? I looked at her seriously and shook my head. Song Chuxia, remember to call the police if you have any problems. Randomly accosting an ordinary citizen like me isn't a good idea. By the way, you can ask Xiaheng for help. Then I walked away proudly. It felt so good. Of course, Xiaheng wanted to help, but he was powerless. After all, he had just given me more than 10 million yuan, and the company was about to go public. He simply didn't dare to get involved in this mess. Unexpectedly, even though I didn't take the bait, Song Chuxia still had a trick up her sleeve. She posted a video online, of course, after some editing. First, it showed her distress from being chased by debt collectors, then her apology to me. And finally, my back as I walked away. At the end of the video, Song Chuxia's whole family appeared, crying and bowing. We're very sorry about this matter, but we're also victims. We've been deceived out of all our money. We won't run away. We will definitely take responsibility. Please give us a chance to live a normal life. The vulnerable and crying beauty not only didn't let the setback defeat her but also showed courage in taking responsibility. Song Chuxia quickly gained a lot of attention. As for me, I was criticized by thousands of people. Netizens called me the vicious back and flooded my social media accounts with attacks. I didn't back down. The day after the public opinion fermented, I immediately released the complete, unedited video. Come on, did they really think I waited for her without making any preparations? I also added a paragraph at the end of the video. I've been crying every day because of the harm she caused me. However, as a woman, I won't blame her. After all, some things are just a matter of coincidence and bad luck. I hope this matter ends here. Of course, it wouldn't end there. I'm waiting for them to make their next move. The public opinion reversed instantly. The hatred that was previously directed at me now rebounded onto Song Chuxia's family. Those who had been dragged into bankruptcy by them also came forward one after another to express their anger. Song Chuxia's family became like rats crossing the street, constantly on the run. Finally, Xiaheng couldn't sit still and came to find me. There were still half a month left before the company went public. I believed he must have come up with a story for Song Chuxia. Otherwise she wouldn't have stayed out of the spotlight so far and avoided being linked to Xiaheng. Kiki, I didn't think things through before. I didn't consider your feelings and failed to protect you. But you blocked all my contact information, and didn't you agree to help Chuxia in the first place? Kiki, I don't know why you've suddenly changed so much. Although he ended with what seemed like a question, he also put on a wronged expression. My anger instantly surged. As his employee, I worked hard and conscientiously. As his girlfriend, I took meticulous care of his daily life, always putting his feelings first. He said he didn't want too many disagreements between us at work. So I gradually delegated power from the core departments like marketing and RD in my hands. He said Song Chuxia had helped him a lot in high school, so I showed her my care and didn't mind her occasional little caprices. I just wanted to live a stable and happy life with him. But what I got in return was double-faced betrayal and even framed me. Thinking of this, I didn't even want to maintain the basic decency between adults. I picked up the coffee on the table and splashed it at him. The people in the coffee shop were in an uproar. Before Xiaheng could react, I stepped forward, grabbed his tie, pulled him towards me, and slapped his face with both hands. His fair face immediately turned bright red. Strangely enough, the red marks on both sides were symmetrical, almost looking festive. I looked at Xiaheng and said, "You've been having an affair with Song Chuxia for a long time, right? Since you like her so much, why are you still with me? Could it be that she didn't fancy you? And you wanted to use me to work for you willingly? You're just as despicable as your selfish father. Xia Heng was originally so angry that he was about to lash out. But after hearing my last words, he could only stand there stiffly, unable to say a word. Xia Heng's father was good-looking and glib. When he was young, he abandoned Xia Heng and his mother and ran away with a rich woman. Xia Heng had always hated his father deeply. I pushed him hard back into his seat. Then looked up at the people in the coffee shop and smiled. Sorry, I'm just teaching this scumbag a lesson. I apologize for the disturbance. Put everyone's bills on this scumbag's tab. Don't be shy. Unable to bear the humiliation, after seeing the crowd clapping while sighing, Xia Heng could only slink away to pay the bill. I called the waiter to clean up and continued to drink my coffee, remembering my previous life. I wasn't completely oblivious, there were many clues. But I just chose to turn a blind eye. The recording played at the previous banquet was made at one of their class reunions. I still had some work to do at the company that day and initially decided not to go, telling him to go alone. Later, I finished my work ahead of schedule, thinking that he might drink. I decided to pick him up. When I arrived, just as I was about to push the door open, I heard several people teasing inside. Neither Vice President Payne nor Chuxia is coming today. What a pity. Due to my habit of dealing with clients in the market, I instinctively turned on the recording function on my phone when I heard such sensitive remarks. Old Xia, sister-in-law isn't here today, and sister-in-law's family is in trouble. You can take care of her without holding back. Another person chimed in. Who's the elder and who's the younger isn't certain yet, right, old Xia? Ha ha ha. I waited for a while before hearing Xia Heng chuckle. Don't talk nonsense. Don't say such things in front of Pei Ku. She has a bad temper. And don't let Chuxia hear it. She'll be sad. The others agreed. We definitely know that. It's just that neither of the sisters-in-law is here. None of that is true. Xia Heng's tone was a bit strange. He didn't seem angry at all. Instead, there was even a hint of anticipation in his voice. The hand that was about to push the door slowly retracted. I wasn't sure if I should be angry. After all, before this, Xia Heng hadn't shown any special attention to other women, and he even denied it on this occasion. But I still felt uncomfortable. Looking back now, I realized that it was probably on this day that the news about Song Chuxia's father broke out, which was why she was absent from the gathering. I left quietly and stayed outside for a long time, listening to the recording over and over again. I told myself that it was just a bit of male banter. Xia Heng hadn't admitted anything, he just hadn't firmly denied it. I didn't stop listening until my phone ran out of battery, and then I drove home. I don't know when Xia Heng came back. After all, we didn't live together. During the year we were together, Xia Heng never once invited me to his place on his own initiative. He only stayed at my place occasionally. Xia Heng said he felt more at ease at my place. It wasn't until I saw a photo on Song Chuxia's Moments, which was taken at his home, when I asked tentatively. Xia Heng said it was just a casual gathering at his place after the party, and his classmates had insisted on coming over. I began to look at things with a more scrutinizing eye. I found lipstick in the passenger seat of Xia Heng's car, and the brand and shade were the ones Song Chuxia often used. Xia Heng said that after a party, he gave some people a ride home, and Song Chuxia was among them. She might have dropped it there and asked me to give it back to her next time I saw her. His attitude was so straightforward that I started to wonder if I was being too sensitive. Moreover, our wedding was on the agenda. If there was something wrong with Xia Heng's ability, there was no need for him to continue with the marriage. It wasn't until the eve of the wedding that I heard the two of them arguing. Song Chuxia said discontentedly, "You were the one who set the plan, now you want to back out." Xia Heng said irritably, "How could I back out? I'm just worried that this might affect our public image. We're already at this point. Is there any way back? Let me think about it. Don't act on your own." I was confused at the time and thought they were planning a surprise for me. Only now, looking back on these things, did I suddenly realize this was the truth. The baseless accusations against me, the sudden appearance of extreme fans, the hand that pushed me from behind, all these things pointed to the two of them not backing out. I wanted to laugh, but tears welled up first. When Zhang Yang arrived, I had just dried my tears. Seeing my slightly red eyes, he sneered, still attached. I just silently took out my phone and showed him the content. As he was reading, Zhang Yang gradually sat up straight. After he finished reading, he asked cautiously, "What do you want to do?" I said softly, "I want him to regret ever meeting me." 9. After I resigned, I immediately invested in multiple industries and companies that would have great development in the future. The celebration banquet for Xia Heng's company's upcoming listing was held in a hotel that I had invested in. I was talking to the manager to get an update on the situation when I unexpectedly ran into Song Chuxia, who was dressed in all her finery. Gone were the previous embarrassment and fear. Song Chuxia now showed no signs of her former distress. After all, Zhang Yang wasn't the only good lawyer in the industry, and this case wasn't too difficult. As long as one was willing to spend money and put in the effort, it could be easily resolved. Not to mention with Xia Heng, who had been reborn. The reason he came to me before was probably because in the previous life, I was the one who solved the problem. He thought he could solve it easily this time and also smear me in the process. Pei Ku, do you think Xia Heng will still protect you? You bullied me for so long. Do you think I'm an easy target? I will return all the humiliation you gave me, and more. Song Chuxia bluffed a lot, but I just gave her a look as if she were crazy, then turned to the hotel manager and said, remember to screen guests in the future. Don't let people like her in, or others might get bitten and need rabies shots. Then, in front of her fierce glare, I left with a group of people. When I got home, as expected, I saw Xia Heng waiting at the door. I miscalculated. I've been so busy with various things recently that I forgot to move. Xia Heng silently followed me into the house, and we sat on the sofa, no longer holding back. Xia Heng said with certainty, you've been reborn too, right? I wasn't surprised that he could figure this out. After all, since I got the money, I hadn't tried to hide my actions. With such a drastic change in my attitude towards them and my preemptive investment in many industries that would thrive later, it wasn't hard for him to make the connection. So what? You know my methods. Even when I was at my lowest, I didn't let you off easily. You'd better keep your good classmate in line and stop her from attacking me all the time. After hearing my admission, Xia Heng seemed to relax. Kiki, I won't hold your previous actions against you, and you shouldn't interfere with what I'm going to do either. I looked at him warily. What do you mean? I've already sorted out Chuxia's problem. I don't want you to target her anymore. I was confused. When did I target her? Today at the hotel. You not only insulted her but also stopped the preparations for the celebration banquet. Aren't you being a bit petty? It suddenly dawned on me. So that's what she told you. That was close. I thought he knew something more. Xia Heng looked at me helplessly. I know you're still bitter about what happened in the previous life, but we just weren't meant to be. I only have eyes for Chuxia. I've already compensated you with money for what happened before. Stop making a fuss. There's no future for us. I looked at him in disgust. Since being reborn, I've been focused on my career, but since his rebirth, he's been obsessed with romance. I overestimated him. I stood up, opened the door, and motioned for him to leave. Not even wanting to say another word, Xia Heng sighed and got up to leave. When he was outside the door, he turned back as if he wanted to say something, but I slammed the door in his face. I wasted my meal today. I feel like throwing up now. 10. There was still a week left before Xia Heng's company went public. Knowing that I was the major shareholder of the hotel, they changed to another one. The press releases were already in the works, and Song Chuxia was ready to ring the bell with Xia Heng. She even sent me a message. Do you regret not holding on to Xia Heng? Let me tell you, Xia Heng has liked me since high school. I didn't expect he'd still be so infatuated with me after all these years. You were just an accident. All of this will ultimately be mine. Come to think of it, I really should thank you for all the hard work you did for me before. In the previous life, I rang the bell with Xia Heng. I'm sure Song Chuxia was seething with jealousy. Now, all of this was hers. The highlight of her life was about to come, and she was extremely proud. I didn't reply to any of her messages. Instead, I posted these messages online with the title "The founder of a listed company cheats and kicks out his partner." I also submitted all the evidence I had to the China Securities Regulatory Commission. Xia Heng's company's IPO process was suspended 2 days before the scheduled listing. He was taken away for investigation. The company's finance director was someone I had promoted. When I left, I didn't plan to do anything at first. After all, in the previous life, the company went public smoothly, and everyone made a fortune, since I was the legal representative of the company. The finance director didn't want to mess with me. In this life, since I left early and the company's listing had nothing to do with me, the finance director, anticipating that he would also be kicked out, quickly made a copy of the relevant documents and sent them to me. That's when I realized why Xia Heng made me the legal representative in the previous life and why he was so eager to push for the IPO when the products weren't fully developed. His real goal was to raise money fraudulently. The so-called industry-leading product performance indicators and impressive financial statements were all inflated. and I, as the legal representative, was set up to take the fall. Remembering what he said to Song Chuxia on the eve of the wedding, I won't back out. My hatred burned even stronger. Xia Heng topped several trending topics, both in the financial and entertainment sections. In an interview with reporters, I said firmly, Song Chuxia meddled in my relationship with Xia Heng. As a woman, I originally didn't want to make things difficult for her, but she kept pressing me, constantly smearing me. She used misleading video edits to confuse the public and privately humiliated and slandered me. I couldn't take it anymore, so I decided to speak out. Regarding the issues with Xia Heng's company, after obtaining the evidence, I simply did what a responsible citizen should do. I hope everyone will focus more on the legality and compliance of this matter rather than on me personally. Thank you all. After that, I left with Zhang Yang's escort. I won't interfere in Xia Heng's affairs anymore. I'll leave everything to the law. He will receive a fair trial, and I will have an even brighter future. When I came out of the elevator, Song Chuxia suddenly rushed out and was about to stab me with a knife. I turned around, and the bodyguard behind me immediately stepped forward and kicked her flying. I quickly called the police. While waiting, I looked at the person who seemed crazy and said, "Do I look like such a stupid person?" I was indeed stupid in my previous life, but now I'm Nyo Kalu Peiku. Since Xia Heng was arrested and Song Chuxia went missing, I've been on guard against her. Xia Heng wasn't surprised at all when I readily agreed to help him. After all, I've always put his needs first, and this. It seemed that Song Chuxia had also been reborn. Great, this would make the revenge even more satisfying. I looked down at her and said, "You forgot that even when I died in the previous life, you didn't have a good life either." She was so angry that her whole body trembled, and she pushed me away forcefully with her hand. She still had the knife in her hand, and I didn't ask the bodyguard to take it away. Song Chuxia was taken away by the arriving police, and I was also taken to the ambulance. She was charged with attempted murder. Lying in the hospital bed, I listened to Zhang Yang sitting beside me scolding, "Look at you, who am I? Once she rushed out and tried to hurt you. She couldn't escape legal punishment. Why did you do something unnecessary?" While eating the fruit, I directed Zhang Yang to continue peeling the apple and said, I know, I just wanted to make sure everything was foolproof. If Song Chuxia had just rushed out and didn't cause me any harm, she might have been released after being detained for 2 days, but stabbing me, and with the surveillance footage showing that she stabbed me on purpose, that's a completely different matter. Hearing my perfunctory words, Zhang Yang could only give up. When I was discharged from the hospital, I received a request from Xia Heng to meet me, and I went. Xia Heng looked much more haggard and was no longer as high-spirited as he was in the previous life. I looked at him indifferently and said, "I didn't expect you to still want to see me." Xia Heng smiled self-deprecatingly. "I didn't expect you to agree to come either. I just want to apologize to you. I'm sorry for so many things. Oh, I know you did all this because you wanted me so much." Xia Heng took a deep breath and said with great patience, "If I say that I won't have any contact with Song Chuxia anymore, can you ask Zhang Yang to defend me? I will definitely change my ways and we can live a happy life together in the future." I regretted coming here. I smiled and, under Xia Heng's expectant gaze, said, "You really are pushing your luck. Who gave you the courage to think that I would still be infatuated with you? A flower behind bars. The last time I asked you to leave, it was because I was afraid that I would vomit if I said one more word. Now I realize that I was wrong. Why should I make myself feel sick just to make you feel good? I'll tell you one last time clearly. Do you think you're worthy of being with me?" I stood up and was about to leave, then quickly added, "It's really hard for you to contact Song Chuxia now. After all, she's also in prison. As for where exactly, I don't know." I didn't bother to look at Xia Heng's devastated expression or care about his reaction upon hearing about Song Chuxia. These despicable people will surely be punished by the law, and I will also have a brighter future.